Ford, how about welcome.
Yo,
Welcome to podcast number 2.
we're vibing.
We vibing, we thriving, we chilling, we stretching. Fuck. I'm here. How's you going?
It's going good. Round two.
Round 2, gaming.
Round two of this. Yet. It was a lot of fun last time.
True.
So
Lots of funnies.
let's
Lots of
keep
gaming.
it going.
Let's keep it going, gamers.
So the first thing
Alright. What's on the list?
we should talk about
What's on the agenda?
is a gigantic.
Oh, we starting.
Yeah, we're gonna start on kind of a tough note,
Tough note.
and I
Okay.
think we should because who knows how long we'll be talking about it.
True. Well, we'll be gaming. That's the
I mean, we're gaming so hard. Nix has bullet points ready to go.
True.
Honestly.
It's bullet points with sub bullet points, and I think I went in way too petty. But some of these are like fucking hardcore truths.
So here's what we're gonna do.
Factual.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Can
We're gonna have you go over the bullet points, and we're gonna talk about them.
Oh.
We're gonna talk about the game and all the good stuff. But first, we should talk about how our experience with this game was. Because when we went into it, we were very excited. We were very
Hyped.
enthusiastic and hyped.
Yeah.
And there were no expectations, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't much like, there was hype, but there wasn't much like that you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It was like, oh shit, they're bringing it back. Let's play it. Oh my god, the game is plays so well because it was nice. It felt fluent. Like the movement felt nice for a minute. We weren't down in the trenches, as they say at the start. Okay.
right.
Once we delved a little deeper, the what's called the glaring mistakes started popping up and had us like basically.
Brutal. Basically, definitely, like for you, I feel like that one.
Yeah, that one
sure.
summarized me perfectly because I got so mesmerized and confused at some points. I was just like, "Yep, you're banned." No, like
So the thing is at first glance, the game seems very straightforward, right?
yes,
You have abilities, you have a skill tree, and the idea is to gathers this resource so that your monster can attack the other monster, and thus you attack that monster
yeah,
while they're down or whatever, right? And this was once I reached level 10 and beyond and discovered the clash mode, this was my biggest grievance with the game, is that Rush and Clash are so different that you play Rush for 10 levels and then jump into Clash and
and
are kind of
you're
smacked in
lost.
the face. Yes, with like a brand new experience
Brand new
that pales
experience,
in comparison.
brand new mechanic, brand new like mechanics, multiple, because like you don't even get to summon creatures in the first 10 levels or something like that.
Right, you don't summon creatures in Rush. You
Yeah,
just go into the point and fight over them.
yeah,
So some creatures are already summoned. The idea is that Rush takes place in the Clash, like, because when you play Clash, there's 5 rounds of Rampage, where you have to keep fighting and try to get your monster to rampage more than the other monster. And then after the 5 rounds of Rampage, you go into Clash mode, where the map will either change or the map will move to a new position, depending on what map you're playing on, right? Because some of the maps you actually move to a new area,
Yeah.
and then the other maps are just like we're gonna remove some walls and change a little bit.
We're gonna push forward a point or something like that.
Right, like there's not a huge difference. It's just a
Yeah.
very subtle difference on some of the maps.
Yeah.
But in Rush, you play on the Clash version of each map where you're already in Clash mode.
Yes.
Whereas with the actual Clash game mode, you play on the first version of the map and then progress to the Clash
It's like
version.
the Clash is like the last part, but with added mechanics.
Right.
Yeah.
So with all that being explained, just in case, nobody knows about this game or understands, um, now we can start talking about the deeper mechanics. And, because you play Rush and you're kind of a bit jarred once you hit Clash, but to me, I think Clash is the superior
Clash
mode.
is absolutely the superior mode.
I think Clash is
Without
the
a
way the
doubt.
game was meant to be
True.
played.
And I feel like Rush was made to be this simple, fast version of Clash, but I think Clash should have been unlocked way earlier for us, for like anyone, and
Yeah.
it should have been like your first couple of matches should be with people that just unlocked Rush as well, kind of deal for the
Yeah.
matchmaking, so you can kind of ease into it instead of it unlocks at level 10. You're playing against level fucking 40 people that have unlocked the strongest thing, and they're just mashing. They got the Reddit builds on deck, while you're trying to. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I was stomping in Rush, and then you go to Clash, and then you get your shit pushed down for like 7 games in a row.
Well, the thing is I feel like in Rush it's like that too, because people just get a hang of the design of the game really quickly.
Oh yeah,
But also people know that when you play Rush, you're playing with people who are probably levels 1 through 10,
yeah,
more than likely.
yeah,
So I feel like two things. Rush should have been like a completely different mode, or should have been just Clash, but maybe a little faster. Like instead of 5 rounds of Rampage, like in the classic Clash,
yeah.
maybe 2 rounds of
2
Rampage.
rounds of Rampage until you reach Clash, and then Clash, and then everything should be better. Because that alleviates the. Uh, let's say they did it for time or for like the more casual, but those two modes are like so different, like
Yeah.
night and day different. That Rush didn't even prepare you for Clash. It just
Yeah,
got
and the
you.
training, the training stuff, what was it? The tutorial stuff for Clash, I don't think did it justice.
Yeah, I don't think it ever asked me to. Oh, maybe it did, but like, I didn't know how important it was to like summon monsters, or
Upgrade them.
how to upgrade them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was some gaming moment there when I figured that out. But I'm a bit of an airhead. I would say that when it comes to like games and when it comes to things like that. But game modes aside, I would say that the menus are a little bit overstuffed with information.
Okay, so yeah, no, well here's the thing. We're actually gonna go right into that, but
Yeah.
like so the explanation of things when you get into Clash is part of the problem with the user
Yeah.
interface and the menus
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
abilities, the status effects,
And they're like,
what
press
is your
tab.
ult.
Press tab to
Like,
read for 20 seconds. Well, make your character say it. Like, it's like, bring me to the upgrade point, bring me to like a monster and say, you know what? This monster that has been summoned here by your friend, if you have your ultimate, call it ultimate, never call it focus ever again. If your ultimate reaches level 2, you can upgrade this particular monster in up to like its maximum level, so it can do more damage, heal more, be a more of a threat towards the enemy. And that was just skimped over, and this is such an important part to the game, so much so that my particular build that I enjoy playing as ignores me using my ultimate and is just me trying to spawn the strongest monsters that I can from the get-go without having to waste them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but so that's the biggest problem with the game right now is communicating some of the most important aspects of the
Communication,
game.
readability, the menus when you're
So
like checking out the
just
characters.
we're
Yeah.
you're going into a lot. We got to
Yeah.
chip this down one
Okay.
by one
Fuck.
here.
It's gonna take
Like,
so
because
long.
I know, but that's why I wanted to start with this, because that way we
Okay.
can kind of get it out of the way
All right.
first.
My-
Because with
Mind
the
you, this is
game-
my first point still.
the game fails to explain to you, like Nick says, what is a focus point? What is focus? When we first got into the game, you know, I love reading things and understanding my kit so that way I can use it. But
Even
when you
were
look at a
confused.
character's kit, you'll see status effects that you don't necessarily know what they do. And so your instinct, because modern sensibilities with user interfaces and menus, is that if you see something like a status effect, you can maybe go your cursor over it, put your cursor over it, and you'll get a little blurb
Yeah.
explaining what it does or what it is. Or it's worded in a way where it's self-explanatory, right? Like I was telling you about Smite, the word rooted
Yeah, it just
can
means
just
like
mean
halted
stunned.
or stunned.
Yeah,
like
they
you
can't move.
can't move. Yeah, basically.
You know, so you get words like, what were some of the words like?
Okay, it like using this ability applies death to the enemy, and that's it. That's all you get.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna.
You're
pull
like,
the
I'm gonna
game
open up the game so
I'm
we
opening
can
the game
fucking
because it's more than that, right? Like
yeah, but
some
like
characters have specific status effects, but
yeah,
that goes into the more of like it's overly complicated aspect
but
of the game.
they have they have unique effects that they apply, which is a-okay, all right. But the problem is when you have effects that are explained different but are the same thing as what a different character does, and you're just fucking confused the whole time.
Well, my thing is you can have character-specific status effects, but when
Yes.
you start having so many character-specific
Yeah, when each
status
character has them, it's like
like
you need-
usually in these MOBA games, the ultimate is will apply maybe a character specific status effect, but there's a lot of other things about the character that's bog standard. Every
Yes.
character has, and
Yes.
that way it's easily to read and easily
Yes.
to judge.
Yeah.
But the things in this game that frustrate me with the status effects are things like freeze. You know, because there's a freeze, right? But then there's also full freeze, and then there's something called deep freeze. Now there's 3 different status effects for something that should just be
a single
bog
thing.
standard, right? A
Yeah.
single thing. Like and they each do different things, and it's not properly explained if this is a stacking thing where if you apply freeze, you have the potential to go full freeze, and then after full freeze, you have the potential to go deep freeze. It's not
Yeah.
explained like that because they all stack on top of each other, or like they all apply differently, different like status effects, or one is worse than the other, and it's hard to decide
Yeah.
like
Or it's
one's
either
better than the
worse
other.
or there's a spelling mistake or something.
right.
like,
But then
one
we
of them
also
is
have
massively
the
worse.
slows. We have major slow. We have weaken and like what was it like major weaken or something? You
yeah,
have
and then you have armor break, armor
cracked.
There was armor break, armor crack, and then armor major armor break or major armor crack. It's like,
Right, like it's redundant after a certain point,
what?
right? Like
Yeah.
it's too much going
Just
on
just
here
make it
that it's not
armor
making
break times
sense.
2 or armor breaks times 3. Like, just simple, readable,
Right.
like, thing. If it stuns someone, make it look like they're stunned. Not make them, like, stand still. Like, give me, like, a little vortex around their on their head showing me that they're stunned.
Right, that too. That's the thing that
Oh my fucking god, we're just diving into
but
other shit.
but that's
Sorry.
the thing about
Sorry.
for me with Smite that makes it so readable is you instantly can see visually that what's happening to them is associated to a specific status effect. It's
Yeah.
very instantly readable. But that's with my experience with Smite. I've been playing it for many years. I played Gigantic when it was on the Xbox beta back in like 2018, and I wasn't nearly as deep with Smite or like MOBA likes, so I just played it at the surface. But
Yeah.
now that I'm really into all this stuff, I have this mentality of there's so much going on. But now that we've talked about the status effects and how
The
there's too
menus.
much stuff with the skill trees, the
Yup.
menus, now we can talk about combat.
Classes. No, I want to touch on the classes first.
You want to touch on the classes? Let's touch on
Yeah.
the classes. Okay, so let's talk about how the character classes are split up. It's not like your
Yes.
typical MOBA where you have the tank, you have the healer, you have the DPS,
Yeah.
right? It's not split up like that at
You
all.
get
What they have,
mixes. You get
right,
mixes, and then you have. They're more so separated between what they use as like weapons. So you have your caster DPS.
let me just I'll
Yeah.
I'll tell you what they are because I have
Yeah.
it right here,
Tell me.
right?
Tell me. Tell me.
So you have the frontliners,
Yes.
which could be a tank, could be a healer, or could be an assassin. You
Yeah.
have ranged DPS, which could be healers
Healers.
or could be
Melee DPS or
support, could be, yeah, could be, well, range DPS specifically, we're looking at, it could be support, it could be something else,
yeah.
right? Like there's the mixtures. Then you have the melee DPS, which also could be frontliners, could be assassins, could be healers, support, utility. And then you have the support, which could be range DPS, which could be a tank, which could be uh
Yeah.
like but the thing is it's too convoluted
It's
because
ov- it's overlapping.
at the end of the day, some tanks are really good at tanking, some ranged are really good at range, some melee are really good at melee, but none of the support are really good at like support.
Support.
Like that's the irony of it
Uh,
all.
I
But
would
yeah,
say
go ahead.
there are certain supports that don't build them for support. Like, it's not even worth building for support because we were at level 5 or 7
Mhm.
and two shots from the sniper chick from like really far away
Mhm.
took around 10 seconds to heal up all the way from having a healer right on top, right next to me, just pumping me with heals. It's just healers are not there so much to heal, they're there to patch you up enough so you can get to a plant or to run away far enough so your auto heal kicks in.
Yeah, and that's the thing
And I
is
feel
the
like that's not
heals from
the
most
way.
support are like only 50 HP, but then you look at your character, you've got like 1500, 1100 HP.
Yeah.
Like that's not doing anything. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be killed faster than they can heal me.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's the design, but that kind of like nullifies healers.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Here's a healer that does 25 HP per second. Are you fucking kidding me? Here, wait, hold on. Here's another healer that does 50 HP per second. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Here's another healer that does. This one does 80, which is pretty good,
Yeah.
right? But still, like, we're talking about 1,000 health, and I'm taking over 100 damage
Yeah.
sometimes, right? When I'm in the middle of a fight.
True.
So
There I
there's just
don't
a lot of issues with that, I think.
Well, the thing that bothers me more is that even if you're not in the middle of like fights, which is what Overwatch was like suffering with, like people could be in the middle of a fight and somebody is just pumping you with health all the time and you would just
Hmm.
survive no matter what. Like I feel like they don't have that problem. But that could become a problem if they buff healing like out of the ass. But my
Hmm.
problem is after we've disengaged, we're not we're not under direct fire or anything. If my healer is trying to heal me, it's almost always just easier for me to just leave them behind and just go
Right.
to a fucking flower. Like
Right. Exactly. A flower or to your
a
tree.
flower or to a tree and that heals you more.
Right. Being out of combat, basically.
Yeah, it's like just make them more supporty and less about healy if you want the trees and the flowers to do most of the healing. Just take that healing out of there. Like it just does not feel like it just puts an extra what's it called, it just puts an empty slot on them that could be used for like an evasive maneuver or like an extra attack. And at the moment it's just like a weak heal that can patch someone's, like if they're at 20 health it can get them up to like 40 or 60 before they start getting shot at again.
Right. Here's my take, right?
Go ahead.
Like, I agree with you, maybe some buffs or some changes just
Yeah.
completely reiterate what a support is.
Yeah.
But my take is we need to have maybe more of a role that is very clearly defined
Yeah.
where like we're not doing like like I feel like there's when I go into a match there's like four brackets, right? You have the um like, because that's what's weird is when you go into the heroes, you see range DPS, melee DPS, frontliners, and support. But when you go into a match, it's divvied up different. All the DPS guys are in a spot, but then they have assassins in a spot, and then they have tanks in a spot, and then
Yeah.
they have the healers in a spot. So it's like you. That's what they should do for the menu in the heroes tab,
Yeah.
where it's divided like that. But my solution would rather be to have people kind of like with Overwatch, you lock into a queue where yeah, I'll play any of the characters, right? I'll play
Mm-hmm.
any role
Yeah.
basically. And so that way you're guaranteed two support, you're guaranteed two DPS, and then you're guaranteed one tank,
Yeah.
right? Like cuz it's right now the problem mainly is the fact that you'll go into a match and you won't have a tank. And so now you have to play in a way where there's no control over the fights for your
But
team.
I feel like that's more of a classes issue because of the overlap. The tank assassin has less health. It's not a tank. It's more so like a heavier assassin, and it's like he just gets stomped in a big fight, and then you don't feel like you have a tank. I think we had a tank that game, but it was just an assassin tank.
Talking about Ramsey or the bull.
It was the bull, I think.
Well, the bull is supposed to be. It's not. He's not a. That's the thing is he's in frontliners, but he's not a tank.
Yeah, he
That's
gets
that's the
chewed up pretty fast if he meets
yeah.
like a whole squad.
Like if you don't build him properly, because I feel like he's more about sustain, and if you get into a fight, you need to get kills to
Yeah.
continue sustaining.
Yes.
But
He
like if you
needs
don't
sure
get kills, you're
kills.
just gonna chew into they're gonna chew into your health and you're gonna die.
Yeah.
But like Rutger, he can go into a fight, not get kills, and come out of it probably shake off a lot of that damage.
Yeah, basically run away from it before he
Right.
gets
But like
crushed.
that's the problem is you look at the bull and then you look at Rutger
Yeah.
and they do feel like two completely different classes of characters when you play them.
Yes.
And that's the big issue here is it's not very clearly defined who does what.
Yeah.
And even like if you choose support, you choose a character like Zandora, she's like a master of none because she can she'll give you heals, but she can also buff your speed, but she can also buff damage. And then she doesn't really have much in terms of kit, in terms of like doing things to the enemy. It's just kind of
Yes.
like rallying your team, which
Yeah.
is a cool idea, but
On
again,
paper.
master of none kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Also, the ping system in this game is not very
uh,
um
yeah, I mean, I don't
usable.
know
Kind
if,
of.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know. People don't use it
There's a lot
enough.
of issues with this game
And
at
like
the
when
end of the
somebody
day.
uses it, they're just pinging an empty like point while the whole team is like fighting for our life on like let's say we're fighting a D and one of our teammates just runs away and goes to the other point fighting a monster alone
But
and
that's that,
starts
yeah.
spamming the fucking one thing and it's
So
like
that's to the point of, so we've talked a little bit about combat. We've talked a little bit about classes. I don't think
yeah.
we've actually talked about the combat yet, but
No, we haven't talked about the combat.
so
We're
we've
gonna
talked
ease
about the
into it.
classes. Let's talk about the gameplay and like what am I even supposed to do, right? Like I think what you were saying about how we're in a team fight and one of our teammates just runs to another point.
Yeah.
I feel like that's part of the issue with this game where it's not clear what what is like the priority or how we should play these fights, or like should we split or not. Like
I
you'll have matches where the whole team is together, the whole enemy team is together,
yes.
and we're just duking it out on a point, and we're trying to control that point. But because each map is different, each point and its importance will change. And like like for me with Smite, for example, you have a very clear definition of what progression means, right? Like push your minions, destroy the tower, get closer to their end of the map, right? With this game, it's very different. You're not trying to push completely into their point. You're trying to hold and control
The middle.
certain points, right? Like the middle portion, so that way your giant can generate more energy than they can,
Yeah.
and you can do more
Do the attack.
rampage attacks.
Yes. You're basically
And
farming
then,
the other team for kills while
right,
holding a point, and whether like the idea is, I kind of like that actually more
right. Like
than
on paper, it sounds super cool. Like you're focused on combat most of the
yes,
time.
yes, and
But
then
in practice, it feels a little off.
I feel like it only feels off when because like I would say this, I enjoy this game a lot
Yeah, I do too.
because it gives me like a 30-minute like what's called clash battle, and it's like almost like you're on fucking ecstasy. Like it's really fun. You just see the other team, like your whole team working together,
Mhm.
staying bundled up next to each other, and I'm just standing in the back lane throwing cards, and then the other people are just fighting it out with with like melee, and like this teamwork of awesomeness happens. But then, but then, like in other games, the teamwork just doesn't happen because people get distracted and they go to other points. So we lose not only the one point, but they get ganked on the other point, and it's like it's just thrashing to a maximum.
So like I feel like this like gameplay critique isn't necessarily the game's fault.
This isn't a gameplay critique.
This is
This is what I like about the game. Is what I'm
well,
saying.
we're talking about the gameplay. We're talking about the objective and how players sometimes don't follow the objective.
Well,
This isn't
they cannot follow the objective. Like the idea is that the fault is when they don't understand the comp. So if we have three tanks or like two true tanks and one DPS tank and one ranged, the stealth character can technically go to the other point and cap it, and we wouldn't die out. But when we don't have three tanks, we just all get thrashed. Like that's not a gameplay fault. That's just a players misreading the comp point.
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
that happens in all games where there are heroes. It happens
Yeah,
in Overwatch, it
yeah,
happens in Smite,
yeah.
but
I
you know,
don't. I kind of don't understand the like we know what the objective is. The objective is to take as many points as you can and put a monster on each of them so you can get Rampage. But the thing is that the game has the higher, I wouldn't say higher level you go, but the more you understand about the game, the more these group fights take into action, and uh, places where you decide to meet up the other team because they can say fuck it, we're rotating, and then they go to the other place and then you need to meet them there. That's not so much a game mechanic
well, what
thing.
I'm talking about
I
in
feel
terms
like
of
that's good.
gameplay is the fact that we're talking about the match of Clash. We're talking about how it feels to play it. We're talking about the objectives, right? And
I
you
think
know,
if I think it feels well to play, but it's hard to get into the swing of things. Is what it is.
so what we're trying to discuss is the fact that it's the explanation of the mode, right? It's focused on capturing points, but
Yes.
in actuality, it's more important to win team fights because capping a point, first of all, killing an enemy monster that's on a point will give you, let's say, 20 points towards Rampage, and let's say there's 100 points you need to gather.
And it levels you up too, which is good.
Well, it levels you up, but also team fights level you up.
True.
So that's why it's more important from the gameplay perspective on the overall in terms of the long run to win those team fights. You get more XP, but also it's 10 points per kill. 5 enemies on the enemy team. That's 50 potential points you could get versus
True.
20 just by killing the monster,
True.
right? So you don't get nearly as much just from killing one monster as you would from killing like 3 of the team members that are on the enemy team.
Yeah.
But the other thing is you only get points by killing the monster. You don't get points for putting a monster there. The monster has to stay there long enough for a point to kind of generate
Yeah.
on that spot,
Yes.
and then the
And
monster
then
will
the
collect
monster
that point.
generates 20. Yeah.
That's where the confusion comes from the gameplay for new players when they play Clash, is that the monster is not as important as the team fight.
Yeah.
The team fight is more important. The
Yes.
combat that you get through there and winning
Yes.
that battle is more important. You get more
Yes.
XP, you get more points towards Rampage.
You get the chance to plant an extra monster, but it's
Well,
like,
you could get more alt focus points. I was about to say alt. You get more
oh no.
focus points, and
Okay.
you could upgrade your monster. But
Yeah.
the thing is it's early in the game's lifespan, and it's really difficult to expect players to know what the gameplay
Oh
loop
yeah.
is.
True.
And also, it's difficult to decide which strategy is the most optimal based on
True.
who you're fighting.
Well,
But
it
that goes
highly
into
depends.
combat.
Yeah, that's not that. I don't even think that's like a downside or anything. I feel like okay, so
It becomes a downside
well, the
because of the
downside is that
combat.
it's not explained well. I don't think that the combat is the downside. If I feel like
It is because when you play a match, let's
yeah,
just say you're playing a match, you have
okay,
your comp, enemy has their comp.
uh huh,
You start to learn how a character behaves and how they perform.
okay,
And you get to learn that build of that character.
okay,
Now the thing is, now this goes into combat including the skill trees.
okay,
When you're fighting, like let's say Ramsey, who has the whip and he has the sword,
yes,
he has poison, he has a lot of different things he can do.
yeah.
You don't know how they're going to be built the next time you face them.
I just do not see that in general as like that big of a downside.
It's
When
a
you've
downside
mentioned
because it
it multiple
impacts
times,
readability of a character.
I understand that, but if the other team, well, it just become it'll just become what's it called? It'll just become like Counterwatch, if you've heard that one.
Counterwatch?
Yeah, You know how
Well, no, because in Overwatch you can swap. Okay. So if you're gonna compare Gigantic
well,
to Overwatch,
this one you
the thing
can't
is,
swap. Yes,
you can't swap.
but
You can't swap your skills.
yeah, yes,
For Clash, at least, once you're locked in, you're
yes.
locked
Once you're
in.
locked in, you're good. Yeah.
So that's another problem with Rush is they don't tell you that for Clash. You go play Rush, you can swap your character out
Yeah.
anytime you want. But
Yeah.
then you go to Clash, you're locked in. And I was surprised
That's
when
the
I
first
first.
point. Don't make me play Rush for up to like level 11 and then throw me in a game mode that has vastly different rules that are not explained well in your in the training thing, in the training videos
Mhm.
or like playable training
Tutorial.
tutorials. Yeah, and expect people to like slowly adapt. We will slowly adapt, you know, because we're persistent, me and you. But other people would get to like level 20, and by the time we uninstalled the game, they wouldn't have given it another shot and came back to it.
Well, yeah, I just think that the transition from Rush to Clash should feel comfortable. It
Yes,
didn't feel
it didn't
comfortable.
feel comfortable. Yeah.
It felt like I missed a few things along the way that weren't that I like. I just think Rush should feel closer to Clash, but if they want to
Yes.
keep it in the Clash area, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just have it be more closer to Clash. And if they don't want it to be closer to Clash, they want it to be more casual, then maybe you'll need to just create a new mode entirely.
Yes.
Kind of like how with Smite they have the arena, has nothing to do with
Three
uh
lanes or
3 lanes. It
whatever.
doesn't. There's no connection at all,
Yep.
other than minions and building your character.
Yep.
Like it's a completely different mode, completely focused on combat. There's not too many objectives. Like that would be
Yeah.
an interesting transition to be like, okay, I played the character, but now I have this new mode,
I think
and
I
there's
think
more objectives.
in the first one in Rush, we should be able to spawn creatures. That's the time where we should be learning how to like fucking place down creatures and shit.
But
Our first 10
that
levels.
goes against the design of Rush,
True,
right?
but
Because you can't place a creature on one of 2 points that you need to capture.
yes, but what I'm saying is that they're using Rush as a tutorial phase for Clash. And I feel like that shouldn't be used that way, but if it were to be used like that, they should put more onus on placing down monsters. They should teach you, you know, how to build your character. They should have like more explanations about everything, and it's like just
See, I think
that
they're
would make it
using
easier.
Rush as a completely different mode. I don't think their intention is to teach
But then
anybody how to
why?
play
But then why
Clash.
is it? Why is Clash locked up?
Because it's a superior mode
No,
with, or
no,
it's just a.
that sounds. It's like they would say,
Well,
well,
if just let me finish. What I
okay,
wanted to
go ahead.
say was that they locked it up because they want you. It's not like a superior mode as in it's better, but it's more complex. They don't want a level 1 or even a level 5 to jump into Clash
Yeah,
because by the time you reach level 10, it's assumed that you'd have leveled a couple of characters, you'd have unlocked a couple of characters as a
yeah,
result of that,
yeah,
and you may have experience with a couple of characters. So you at least you know their skill trees and you know what they do.
yeah.
That's it.
That's what I would call a fucking tutorial phase.
No, but that's not a tutorial phase.
Yes,
Rush is its own mode.
I understand that, but they're
They
using
don't
it
want
as
Rush
a
and
tutorial
Clash.
stage. I'm
I just don't
saying that,
agree with that.
well, cool. But I'm saying that if you're gonna lock up a well, it's like, okay, let's say, they lock. What's the Smite's? What's the 3 lane Smite fight called?
Conquest.
Conquest. Okay,
And they do lock it up.
They lock it up behind. How many levels do you need
I
to
think
reach?
about 10.
Okay, 10 levels,
Maybe more than that now that I think about it. It
and you
could be
have
10 to 20.
and you have arena, and you only play
Arena's
arena.
always
Okay,
that's me, yeah.
yeah, and you only play arena, and
Okay.
then for 10 levels, and then you go to Conquest, and it's a
Mhm.
completely different game.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. I understand how you see it, but
Right, right.
I feel like it's not. I feel like
It's a problem only because it's a shell shock. That's it.
No, it took me up to like level 20 to understand. It's I guess the only reason why we're like harping on it as much is because it took us so long to learn like the most basic stupid shit. Like
But yeah, that
what
goes
is
back to the user interface. It goes back
exactly
to
well
all that
yeah,
stuff,
and
the
it's like it
menus.
like piled up to this point where it was just like we're not we're not we're not
I mean,
doing
we
this
weren't
properly.
playing
Yeah.
Clash initially at level like if anything, the game just doesn't explain the basics that well.
Well,
It'll tell
yeah,
you how to play. It'll tell you
true.
that you need to attack this point. It'll tell you you need to create a monster.
Yeah.
But it doesn't tell you what focus points are, that you can charge your focus points, which is
Yes.
your ult, up to 3. Not only can you use those 3 focus points to upgrade your monster, but it'll also increase how much damage or how efficient your ultimate is.
Mhm.
So it's like it fails to tell you those things, and so you don't learn them until you either trial and error or you
Mhm.
do like some like you do some like severe analyzing of the game
True.
where you're like, why do I have 3 points in my ult? And then you go to a tree and you're
You're
like, oh, I
speaking
can upgrade it.
facts.
And then you see it chews up a point, and then you realize, oh, so those are focus points. You have to, that's what I had to do. I had to connect the dots and try to figure it all out.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's just poor explanation from like the user interface point, the
Yeah. But
menus.
I'm saying that all of that like builds together
Mm.
into like tricking you into thinking that you're not playing Clash at the beginning because Rush is the mode that teaches you things that will help you in Clash, and the only thing Rush managed to do is teach me how to kind of use my characters, you know, because it did
Mm.
it poorly, right? But well, not massively poorly, but poorly for sure. Uh, but you go to then you go to Clash and you're like, well, this is a whole different fucking game we're playing here. And here there's way more onus on like not stealth capping different points. It's way more important to like meet up and like have these team fights and see who was gonna win. And then the defense is way more important and everything like that. And it's like
Mm.
I feel like because the explanations were bad, it makes you think that Rush is kind of a tutorial phase of Clash, but it's actually not. It's its own mode, and I understand why they would lock up Clash behind level 10, but at the same time, I feel like it should be like behind level 5. This game doesn't have ranked yet, so I I
It doesn't
I.
have ranks, you're right.
I feel like it should be unlocked at level 5. Like, dip your toes if you want to. You always have the option to keep playing Rush. So, um,
Right. And here's my take. I appreciate the level 10 because it's just that's kind of level 10 makes me think you've
seems like a
played enough.
standard. Yeah.
You've unlocked enough characters and maybe you've played enough to at least get the baseline.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't understand focus points yet, but go into Clash, you'll figure it out. But my thing is with Rush is I feel like they wanted to do like basically Rush was created to where people who don't like Clash, they'll just be playing Rush. They won't even touch Clash. Like they'll
Yes.
play Rush,
Yes.
go to Clash, realize
Yes.
there's a lot going on, too much for them to understand. They don't like it. Go to Rush. That's their main mode now. It's
I
Rush,
agree. Yes.
and
That's
that's
good.
fine.
I like it.
Yeah, because in Smite, that's me. I don't play Conquest. I
Yes.
hate it. I just want to play Arena, get
Yeah.
some quick matches in, and play
Yeah.
for like maybe 15
And
to
like,
30
how
minutes.
long does a rush match take compared to a clash match? Which is
I
really
feel
nice.
like,
I feel like it's
yeah, I
good
feel
enough.
like,
I feel like it's good the difference in times that it takes.
yeah, Rush feels like it takes about maybe 10 to 15
10
minutes,
to
and then
15
Clash
minutes.
maybe maxes out at like 15 to 30, I feel like.
Yeah, 15 to 30. We like we've
Depends
done
how
like
well the enemy team's doing.
well, our like last couple of matches were pretty fucking nice, and they were like around 20 to 25 minutes. I think I
Right.
have the feeling,
But I think
which is
I
really
think
nice.
what's right now is what the big struggle is right now for people maybe like you and me is the fact that ranked cannot come any sooner. Because I would love to play ranked because I would love to have people who know how to play and who want to play their best. And they want to play their best with their favorite character, you know? And then maybe in ranked they'll have specific roles where it's like, okay, you've queued up for all roles, but this
Yes.
is the role you need to play.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I want. And maybe ranked
Role
is what's
queue.
going
You
to
want
bring
role
that.
queue in this game.
Yes. Because
Okay.
I think role queue is super important in this game, just
Yep.
like any other MOBA, like
Yep.
Overwatch. It's super important that you have at least one of everything.
Yep.
Um,
But that goes back to the way the characters are split. I don't think they're well enough split
well, that's
to
where I
do that.
think they are split well,
You think?
and I do because when I look at these heals and I see like one person does 50, another person does 75. If you had two healers, the heals wouldn't feel that bad anymore.
Okay.
Because we play and we only have one healer and they can only do
How many?
75.
How many characters was it in a match?
It's 5. So
Five.
2 healers, 2 damage, 1 tank.
Okay.
It would feel a little bit better, I think.
What if? What if? Well, this is a what if situation. It has
Right.
happened to us before. What happens if frontliner, the
Mhm.
frontliner is an assassin frontliner, and
Well, that's the thing, right?
well, that's what I said. I want them to fix the classes. I don't think that the frontline assassin should. I don't think a frontline assassin is a good idea. Like
Well,
as a frontliner.
right, and I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You're talking probably about the bull. He is he is a frontline, but he's not a frontline assassin. He's frontline damage, right?
Yeah.
Rutger is frontline defense, the Margrave frontline defense, and Paco is frontline
Support.
support. So you have 4 front lines, and depending on your comp, you can decide which one you want to bring. So if you brought the bull, maybe you don't have a lot of defense, but he could get in there with the damage dealers and take out some squishy enemies, right? And then maybe they have a tank, all the squishies are taken care of, the tank's gonna have to back up, he's taking too much damage.
Maybe.
There's ways that you can do this where it works. Plus, if you have 2 healers that can focus the bull, keep him supported, it might feel a little better. See, that's the problem right now is that we're playing with wacky comps, right?
True.
And we'll have like 5 DPS, 1 tank, no heals,
I
which
see.
right now works
True.
sometimes
You know,
because heals don't feel that
works
great.
because heals don't heal proper,
But if you wanted more
and they don't
sophisticated
damage proper.
matchups, 2 healers,
Yeah,
2
maybe.
damage, 1 tank might feel better as like just overall
Yeah, maybe a roll
comp
queue would do
vibes.
good. Maybe a roll queue comp thing would do nice, but I feel like they just still need to fix the netcode before.
The netcode's a problem for sure. I
Yeah.
think that's an
Remember
issue.
that one match where did someone leave, or was it a bug that there was like 2 characters or 3 that were just like unkillable or running around the map?
Well, that's
Uh,
a known issue right now
okay.
that
Okay.
people
Okay.
who
They're
leave
gonna fix it.
matches, they get replaced by bots
Okay.
who either attack their own team or are
Okay.
invincible and just become idle. So
Okay.
it's a known issue right
All
now, but
right.
I think
I
I
won't
think
harp
it's
on
actually
them
good that they're doing
if it's a issue.
ranked hasn't released. That's good.
Yeah.
These
Good.
problems need to be fixed with the
First.
servers, the
Yes.
netcodes,
Yes.
all that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
But also it gives people time to figure
To
out
touch
what
on other
makes this
things.
game
Yeah.
tick.
To like
Like
fix up their
it gives
things.
people like me and you time to think this is how you do this.
Yeah.
This is how you do that. This is how a clash match should be played. This is how a rush match should be played. But like there are still little things where it's like for me you can tell this game is straight out of 2018
True.
with how it's designed and with how the explanation of a lot of things just doesn't like go straight to the point, you know? And
Yeah.
I do have issues with the skill trees, even though sometimes it's not a huge grievance. I still think it's really difficult to figure out what a character is going to be bringing to the table until you
Yeah.
die by them,
True.
and then you get to see the damage. But even with the damage,
You don't know how they built it, so
right,
that
like you
make
have to
that
kind of
throws
just
you that throws you straight into Reddit, and I really don't like that.
Well, no, it's just more like the game isn't about countering anything.
Yeah.
The game is just more about who's aggressive sometimes.
Yeah. But
Who's
like,
got the better DPS
well, yeah, but
output.
we can say that about any game. Like sometimes being aggressive in a certain comp is like super rewarding, but then other times it's like super bad.
Yeah, but
If
that's the thing about like Overwatch is if you see someone like Malga rushing in, you can counter that by saying, I'm going to play Ana, if you're a support. And when he rushes in, sleep his ass. And now everybody else has no defense.
yeah,
We can just hit all their squishies
yeah,
and all their support.
like
Like
for this
that's,
game, it's gonna take us a while to figure those things out. Then.
well, I just don't think this game is designed for counter picking or counter anything.
True.
Because you don't get to see what the enemy's doing until you're in the match. You don't know what the enemy's built until you're fighting. And so it
Yep.
makes it really hard to be like you'd have to basically counter their play style more than their build.
True.
And that is difficult if your build is set up to be aggressive,
Yeah.
but you have to play defensively. And like if they would allow you to, like, let's say have the ability not to switch characters during clash but switch your build, that might alleviate it to where it's like, okay, I have a defensive build, but I have an aggressive build. Let's see what the enemy team does and how they play, and I'll decide mid-match which path I want to take.
Mm.
But it's like that's where I'm saying like the game feels like it's straight from 2018, where it's like maybe it's not in the code where it seamlessly could happen like that. Where once you've locked in, the points are being slotted. You swap to another build, maybe something's gonna happen to where it's gonna either break something, like just for me, I would love to see that though.
Hmm. I don't know.
Um,
I don't have that much experience on MOBAs and how they function, so
mhm.
I don't really have any good ones or live ones to compare it to.
You play Overwatch. It's not explicitly a MOBA, but
Yeah, it's not a MOBA. It's like a PvP game. I would say like in any PvP game, readability really fucking needs to be hammered.
so
I
let's talk about that, right?
let's like
Readability in this game sucks ass.
readability in this game kind of bad. Like even in the fucking match itself, sometimes you would hit a character and or or like okay, I would say this. I don't know if it belongs in the readability category, but sometimes I aim for one person and it hits something different.
Well, you're playing Oru, who has auto target,
Yes, but
right? So
also,
that's
well, Mozu also has like a fucking but the problem is like turn that off honestly because that makes it so characters that spawn things basically have walls in front of them that I can't aim through. Like if they're sitting close to like if that one character sits next to its ghost and I don't aim like far out towards like something else
hmm.
so that the card can curve around the ghost or whatever, it just hits the ghost or the grandma that spawns like 5 turrets around herself and she becomes unhittable for like casters. And you're like, sure, then don't engage. Let your melee characters focus them and like take care of them. But like other times, auto aim just does not straight up does not work. And then other times it's just inconsistent. Other times it will like curve a fucking wall and smack
Right.
someone.
This is more about your critiques of the character Oru
Not so much or
more than the game, because not a lot of these characters have auto aim or auto target.
okay, but then I would say Paku as well. Paku has such short ranged attacks that half the time he doesn't even feel like he's hitting anything. He's just
Right, and that
twirling.
yeah,
Like
that's part of the
you've played that game.
character's design though.
Okay.
Right,
So
like he's not meant to do a lot of damage. So when we talk about readability, it's more about what can you see in the combat and where do you think like things are heading, and do you think you're hitting who you're hitting, not because of auto aim, but because of
I don't
the
see myself hitting people when I'm playing Paku, for example. It,
right, but I'm talking about in terms of a lot of effects going off, or when that grandma's turrets are up, there's a lot of health bars on screen, and it's
True, it
hard to
gets
figure out
muddy.
who's where. Visually, we're talking about visually.
Visuals, yeah.
That's why
So
it's called readability.
grandma maximum struggle to be able to hit her, see
Hmm.
her, or whatever. She's like in a dense forest of like 10 different things that are shooting at you. Um, Fine, like walk away. Uh, what's it called?
I just think it's more about like, because like if she's over there in a corner with her turrets, it's very clear. There's the turret. There she is. She might
Yeah,
have five. She might have
run
three.
away. Yeah.
Whatever. But when she goes in with the whole team and there's a lot of like effects going off, I'm talking about explosions, smoke screens, poisons, whatever's going on. You hear a lot of screaming. There's ground pounds and effects just popping off.
Ults.
Everything. The combat's getting messy and it's getting lost. The visuals. It's hard to dictate or decide where someone is. Like if you are a melee character, it's hard to figure out where you need to be punching, because you do need to have your crosshair over the enemy. You
Yeah.
can't just be kind of laissez-faire about it. So that's where like the readability of the game is really difficult sometimes in the team fights. It's hard
Yeah.
to decide where someone is, and it's a double-edged sword because maybe the squishies can kind of weasel their way out of that. It's
Yeah,
like a
maybe.
Tom and Jerry scene where they're fighting and it's
They're
just a
fighting and
ball of
it's just
smoke.
two people just like squeeze out from the fucking
Yeah, they squeeze out of the
smoke
ball of smoke,
ball.
kind of walk
Eh.
away. But it's like it. The thing is just it feels messy.
Yeah. It
That's
sometimes
really all
feels
it is.
messy.
When it
I
comes to Oru and his auto lock, when it comes to Paco and his tiny little hands,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way they were designed, and so you have to play around that. You have
True,
to
but then it's
decide.
it's really hard to play around that. It's like
Right, I mean, but that's part of the skill of using that character.
true. But also I would say this, there are differences between characters that I wouldn't say are small differences. I would
Mhm.
say they're major differences. Oru, for the most part, at the beginning, he's kind of a pressure character. If he hits you with the card, he puts a status effect on you. Okay, he's gaming. But then there are other characters that have like a really short cooldown, massive bleed applying uh, melee strike that they
Mhm.
basically unlock on like level 3, and they just go in, slash you for like 700 damage, and then the bleed just finishes you off because they stack it 36 times. There's like, I would say, okay, if Paku is just designed this way, I'm saying that they need to be designed in a way that they fit with these like, I wouldn't say overpowered characters, but I would say they're like, what's it called? It's like the the damage average of all the characters is, let's say, 50% at the beginning. Paku's is like 10%. And
Right, and I just want to say that's on par with most tanks in your average MOBA. They're not meant to do damage. Like
true,
the
and I
fact
see
that
that.
some of these other tanks do more damage than Paco could be more of a flaw in their design, but it could
True.
also be the fact that the game is not designed well at its base core.
True.
And
But I
so
would
when
also
you're talking,
say that
yeah, go ahead.
some characters just seem like inherently at the lower levels just absolutely nerfed for like zero reason compared to a lot of other characters, which is going to be a problem. Maybe not now, but maybe in the later games where you just see characters just completely stopped being used because they're,
So
yeah, that's all I'm
yeah, so
saying.
when you're talking
Way
about characters
too
being strong in the early game, it could be because of the way that they're building for the early game. Remember I told you when I started to actually analyze like my kit when we were playing Clash, I was like, I need to have the most important parts of my kit, the
no.
strongest parts
I'm
at
not
the
I'm
beginning.
ignoring the kit. I'm ignoring the kit. The
And
kit.
that's your problem.
No, it's not.
Because characters are built in Clash based on their kit. So if you have a character that's super strong in the beginning, it's because they're bringing something that makes them super strong in the beginning. That's why it's super important that the first 3 levels of your character have the best parts of your kit.
Okay.
That's why it's super important.
Then I would
Because
say, ignoring the kit, which I will for a second. Okay. Uh, Paku has a 3-round burst with very small range, with with a very large hitbox, probably the smallest range out of all the ranged characters. He is slow except for his Q, which I understand you can use it to like back away a little bit. But I would say that going into battle or like going into a game with some characters, they feel intentionally by design, by character design, nerfed compared to other characters. And they Paku, instead of being like a slow early game, high support end game kind of character, he becomes low early game and then average end game kind of character. And I feel like that is more so the problem than like including his kit now, right?
Yeah, but do you think maybe you're not building them properly and you're focusing too much
Could be
on
right, but I'm saying that
meleeing people rather than just using the kit?
could be
Like,
no,
because that
because
might
I spam
be
my
the point.
abilities quite a lot. But like the thing is, yeah, maybe I'm not building him correctly.
You
Even
could
the
also
Reddit
be
build
using the
that I'm using
abilities in a way where spamming them isn't the
isn't the
point, right?
point. Yeah, of
Because, like,
course.
you
But
don't want
I'm
to.
just saying that I'm using them, not that I'm like actually like fucking spamming them without fucking thinking, just throwing everything I can. I'm just saying that, yeah, it could be just down to me not having these things, but the problem that I'm seeing is that at the end of the day, it kind of feels this way, right? So
Right.
it
But,
just turned me off from playing that character.
right, and I
Like overall,
understand.
it's
But, like, when you look at the character, it's about support. You're not meant to
true,
do damage,
and
even though there are damage things in the skill tree. But this is why I don't like the skill tree, because it would be infinitely easier if you just had standard abilities, you knew what they do, and over time, instead of leveling them to be different or they do different things, instead they just get better at what they do. So that way you're not confused about if one path of the character is better than the other, or if the way you're building the character in the skills is wrong. It's just more about deep down how you're using the skills and how you're playing them. I mean, it's
yeah.
still that way, but with the fact that you have the skill tree and the splits and the way things might change, it's that on top, it's the skill disparity on top of the tree build. Do you see now why I think the skill trees might be a little like too much? I mean, it's a replacement for building with items, which is valid, but the items also in other games like Smite are straightforward. They don't change
Yes,
the
they don't play. They
characters
don't
so
change
much.
the characters. I understand that, but I kind of it's something I find likable when I can kind of bend the character to my specific playstyle. Okay, it's really hard for, let's say, you're like, well, I wouldn't like go into a thing about League of Legends, but like let's just say I played League of Legends like back in the day like once or twice, and I have had experience with building Jinx, and Jinx has like back in the day when I used to play, Jinx had like 2 fucking builds. Everything else was really bad with her because she's slow to get going. Okay, but once you get her going, she exceeds, right? And that's the fucking thing. If your character has like a slow startup game, it needs to have like a good, not a phenomenal one, not like Jinx back in the day, but like you need to have a good end game, right?
Mhm.
When you reach level 10. But for some characters, it seems like it's not like that. It seems like they either start out way too strong and then they just get fucking amazing when they reach max level, or they start out underwhelming and end up average, in like their in their field, kind of. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm not so much saying that they need to change the way Paku is, or they need to massively change it. I just think that just a little tweak here and there, to like the skill tree or like points or whatever, just to make him feel like at the beginning you're suffering through leveling him up, but at the end it feels like you have this built character that functions properly. It's kind of what I'm saying. But like
Okay.
that applies to like every other character. If you start out super strong, I don't want you to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Like I don't want you to one tap people when you get close to them. Like some of the characters do that, and I understand that some of them are like assassins, and they take out squishies. And some players don't have the abilities to like run away from them, but that's understandable. Okay, but don't make them be able to like single-handedly take out a fucking tank alone with nothing. Like a fully leveled tank versus a fully leveled what's called, should be able to like survive enough or do damage enough to like have a surviving chance to like make him back away or something.
Right. I
Like,
will say that my experience playing tank with Rutger, my first match of the game with you, was
yeah,
awful because I
yeah,
kept getting killed.
true.
And I built him completely improperly because
Yep.
now I have builds that keep him basically keep him turned on, so to
Yeah.
speak. Keeps his fields up, keeps him armored. But also I learned that there's like kind of combos you need to focus on.
Yeah.
There's
Oh no.
abilities that you need to know when to use so that way
Yes.
if you're in a pinch, they get you out of that pinch,
Yep.
you know? And I think that is the like, and that's for all characters, right? You're talking about this character's too strong. That's because the person playing them is just really efficient with them. They're comboing super hard and heavy. And
You're doing the
that,
thing. You're doing the thing when you're saying that I'm just not. I understand that.
well, no, I'm
I'm.
just saying that that's the problem with the game, is it comes down to the way that you build your character in the early and then it becomes super strong in the late. It's just like what you're saying, but the game is designed in a way
No.
where if you build the right things early, you're really good in the early game
No.
and people will die really fast.
What I'm saying is that there are some characters that are intentionally, in, not intentionally nerfed. Okay, but they feel nerfed. But you don't get the satisfaction of building them good at the end because they're. I haven't built him perfectly, okay, but I'm saying that even if you do build him perfectly, he's
I
still
mean, I
gonna.
guess it depends what is the definition of good to you? Like, does it mean getting kills? Does it mean
No,
survivability?
no.
Does it mean supporting your
It
team?
means, well, for him it means supporting the team and slowing enemies. Like that's his entire kit. There's nothing else. It
Hmm.
buffs the team, and he slows down enemies. Which both of those things he does good, but I don't feel like they excel to the point to justify his like melee attacks being this weak and this nerfed. That's all I'm saying. But like at the end of the day, yes, I could just be building him wrong, and yes, maybe we are having this thing where I'm just not gaming
It's like,
hard enough.
well, I mean, because you
uh,
keep bringing up the melee, and it's like, I understand how you want to just get in there and punch people, you know, You've said it many times where it's like, just give me a gun, let me go in there and kill people.
Hell
And it's
yeah.
like
No.
with this game, that is just not the design philosophy.
In this
Even if I
game,
think a lot of the design philosophy might be flawed with the skill trees and all that, at its core,
in this
at its
game,
very, very core, you're not supposed to be able to do that at all. You're
yes,
supposed to be
I don't
punished if you
want.
do that.
Yes, I don't want a gun in this game. Okay, give me a deck of
No,
cards. I just, I just want
I'm
to throw
just,
cards
yeah,
at
don't
people.
take it too literal when I say that,
Yeah, of
because what
course.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
is
I
like if you
understand
run
exactly
in
what
as
you're telling me.
Paco
Yes,
and
you
punch
get shut
people,
down. Yes, I
or if you're
understand that.
trying to shoot someone with Oru, like there's supposed to be another layer of the thought
Okay,
process
then
other
fuck
than
it. We're
just.
leaving Oru behind. I'm saying this. Okay. Fuck. I'm
Um,
really. It's really hard for me to get my point across. Fuck. Am I stupid? Um.
no, I mean it could be just you're explaining it in a way that maybe I'm missing it.
Okay. This is like all I'm saying is that when a character starts off weak.
Huh.
Okay. Let's say the average of characters starting off is 50. Okay.
Well, you see, we can't do that. We can't say average characters start off 50 because you decide how your character starts off in this game. That's why I'm saying the build is so important. The kit is so important because if you were to start your character off with a bunch of buffs, when you use this ability, then you might do better in the early game against someone who gives a lot of
Okay
damage in
then.
the early game.
Let's say at
That's why I'm just
maximum build
saying,
quality. Okay. Let's just fucking simplify it. At max build quality. All right. That's what
okay.
you're saying. Max build quality. That's why I said they start at 50. They don't start from fucking zero. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying you could start at a really high efficiency. You could start level 1 through 3 if
Yeah.
you build
But
into
that's
your
what I'm
efficient
saying. That's what I'm saying.
abilities.
Max efficiency. Max efficiency. It's really hard to get like this balance proper. Okay. If at max efficiency the average is 50 and a character starts off at 25 at maximum efficiency, you built him perfect, okay, and he starts at 25, the idea is that he by the end of it is gonna be either good or above average to justify the start being this slow and agonizing, okay. But what happens is that characters that start off at 50 would end up by reaching level 100, which is like level 10. Okay. By the time they reach level 10, they are exceedingly fucking good. And you have the 25% one at max efficiency being below or average, and it just feels like some characters are not justified to play this way. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
All right, and my
That's something
problem
that
with
you should agree
this is that I have no idea what this is based off of. Like, because I have never played a match where I'm like, this guy is way too good
with.
in
Really?
the early
Okay.
game.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Like, we play matches, the early game is a little tough, but that's because maybe I'm pushing too hard. And we just got done with a clash match, and I'm thinking I'm still level 10, but
Well,
I'm
I would
level
say that
1.
because I've been cornered to places where I play characters that can't like run away really easily, or
Uh-huh.
can't run away really easily. So I'm basically standing there fighting. That's all I can do is Oru, and mind you, that is
Mhm.
good. That is okay. He gets really powerful by the end of it, so I understand why he's like fire slow at the beginning and all that shit. Oru is kind of justified, super, because I have this understanding of him. Maybe Paku does have that fucking build for him as well, where he starts out slow and then gets really good. But that's all I'm saying is like this shit needs to be played with. This shit needs to be like experienced and really kind of dived deep into. And to wrap it all back, some of these things are just not very well explained.
Well, on that note, I think that's where we'll
Yeah,
finish
that's
the
the
gigantic
outro. Yeah.
conversation. Because
We kind of
there's a
talked it
lot.
into the fucking ground, and then
Well,
things
there's
are
just
gonna
a lot
change.
that I'm not understanding. Like with our discussion, there's a lot
Oh.
that maybe we just aren't like we aren't really getting anywhere anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's kind of just like pointless. talk about
Yeah,
this anymore.
it's okay.
We talked about
There's
it. We got the discussion about the gameplay and the combat and the skill points, and we talked a little bit about the characters and all the deeper things where it's like early game, late
yeah,
game.
late
Like
game,
that
like,
could be just the game design. That's the way it's meant to be played.
or it may be subjective due to our like experiences with some of the
It's
characters,
the
right?
game has been around since 2018. If at this point they still haven't fixed anything on that front, that's why I'm like, it's just probably just this is it. This is the way it is.
Like
Moving
I feel like
on.
they just haven't touched it, and now they're really releasing it, and now they're gonna get, depending on the amount of people that play it, they're gonna get a little team in there to like start patching things, start like touching things up, depending on the people's like, uh, kind of depending on the player base is what I would say is the way they are gonna react to this game. Maybe they'll delay the what's it called, the ranked mode, in order to implement changes in the description of some of the items, some of the fucking characters, some changes in the menus, some changes here and there of the fucking tutorial and everything. Maybe that'll take priority, hopefully, because that's what's gonna bring people in more. And then ranked can be for the people that are just going ham and just like the game. And I feel like that's based to have ranked in this game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It'll be fun.
So Overwatch Season 10.
Oh my god.
I'm really excited about this.
Mercy has a new skin. All of the skins look fucking awesome. The idea behind it is pretty cool. The designs are awesome.
I wonder if they took any feedback with Venture. If I want to know if there are any nerfs, if there's any changes. I would love to see because it felt good. I thought Venture felt good during the time that they made it available.
I haven't seen any videos about people complaining that much about Venture, so that must mean that they have like adjusted her a little bit on some of the points. But honestly, I felt like she was pretty balanced.
Yeah.
She had a combo, but I feel that's good. Like she uses up like 3 abilities in order to kill one person, so I feel that's pretty good. I think they nerfed. The only thing they nerfed was her, like how forward the melee pushes people, right? So it doesn't feel like she's like giving you hard ass knockback and then instantly fucking finishes you off.
Right.
But yeah, like Venture, they seem like a pretty cool character. They're not my style. I don't like characters like that combo. Because I feel like I would fuck up the combo every single time. So I just don't stay away from them. But I can't wait to play against or with a competent Venture player. And it'll be fucking cool to see him thrash people.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out. Like, because if they did nerf her, how hard it would be in terms of the changes.
I don't think they nerfed her. I think like the only thing they changed was just her melee, but the melee was pretty overpowered because the melee would like, kind of drill into you, pun aside, and like push Venture along with you, in kind of a really not fair way, kind of like you get stuck on the drill kind of thing, which is not good. Obviously. So it's just something we're gonna need to like play and like check them out, see how to play them.
Yeah.
And everything. Well,
Yeah, we'll have to play or give it a try.
What do you
what
think?
changed.
What do you think about the Mercy skins?
I'm a little confused.
Hit me with the I don't care.
I thought there were 3 skins. I only saw 1. Maybe I'd have to go and look at it
Oh yeah,
again.
there are 3. It's just a mythic skin, so you need to adjust how it looks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one skin that has 3 looks to it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's
I liked Orissa's skin. I liked Widowmaker's skin.
yeah, Widowmaker is
I
fucking killer.
liked Tracy's skin, new skin.
Evil Tracy, I feel like
I think Symmetra had a great skin.
True Symmetra popping
There's
off.
some Junker skins that I like. I think they did a good job. I feel like
Oh yeah.
Bobby Kotick being removed from the company is going to do nothing but great things
Yeah.
for the team. They could do what they want,
Yeah.
and all the updates for comp, in terms of not just comp but also um the new system that they have for protecting users. I think is
Yeah.
going to be huge.
Oh yeah.
I really think there's going to be a huge difference in change in tone. At least I
Oh,
hope there's going to be a
absolutely.
huge
Oh,
difference in
also,
change in tone.
also the new, what's it called? Uh, what's that system? The new, where you buff people, where you give them, credit. What's it called? What's the credit system called? The one where you're like, oh, this person did well at the end of the match. I'm gonna endorse them. Endorsement. The endorsement
Yeah, the
system.
endorsement system.
If somebody gets like below 0, like if somebody gets reported, they get a rank of 0 endorsements,
Mhm.
and they need to get endorsed a whole bunch of times in order to get like to get back
Yeah,
to
to
be
get
able
out
to
of
have
that. And they
chat.
lose
Chat
text chat, and
privileges
voice chat.
and voice chat. Yeah, true. Based. Whoever came up with that idea, fucking give them a raise.
Yeah, that was a great idea. I think it'll definitely encourage better behavior from people.
True.
And, for those people who are stuck in 0, I think
It's
you
probably
had to have done
best.
something pretty bad, yeah, to
Yeah,
get there. So it's almost like,
probably true. Probably deserved. Like,
you
and
lose your privilege.
yeah, enjoy playing the game and staying quiet. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear you either way, so stay on Discord. Yep,
True.
you're banned.
True.
Um, what else? Uh, something else they touched up on. I fucking forgot what it was. Um, damn. There's that skin, Symmetra. Venture gets a skin too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they get a skin as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, we'll be playing it on Sunday
True. Sunday
with
stream. We're gonna be
chat and
gaming.
friends. Would be a lot of fun.
Chat with friends. People can join in, jump in for a match or two, jump out. Like, play around. We're gonna try and play more. What's it called? We're gonna be playing role queue, but we're gonna be doing quick play. So just so we keep it lighthearted. I don't want people jumping in and tryharding. We gotta boost the clown. But yeah, what else is on the agenda?
Well, we could talk about Bug Snacks if you'd like.
Bug Snacks is such a cool fucking game. Everybody should literally go and get it. Like right now. It is psychological horror. I know a lot of people.
It's a weird game.
Listen, it's so based. The whole game is just
So weird, man.
It's so based. Okay, you know what? Because I love the game and I can't say anything bad about it. But you're like you're from the outside looking in. Like, tell me, what is something that like opened your you're like wide eyed staring at the screen looking at this game like what's something that got you there? Go ahead, give me that.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I never felt like, oh my god, this game. It was really like one of those games where, because there's a lot of games out nowadays where they start with the cutesy and then they get weird by
Yeah,
the
and then
end.
they get weird. Yeah.
So there's a lot of games like that that exist on the market, or they like play into
Yeah.
that style.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, It just seems like a quaint little game, and it seems like there might be some depth to the storyline, which is interesting.
Oh shit. Okay, I like that.
Um,
Cause it's true.
yeah, I mean, I don't know
Factual.
if like I would ever play it, but if I could watch someone play it and just have it on in the background, that'd be fine. That'd be perfectly
That's
fine
a
for
win
me.
for me, cause getting people to watch me play that game is a W. Cause that game is awesome.
It's a unique game for sure. I
True.
think I think it's great that they put good amount of thought into how you're supposed to get each bug,
Yeah.
and
Capture
how
each
it's not
bug.
just you know pick them up with the net or something. You really have to get creative in how you capture like a snow bug or a fire bug,
Yeah.
and it
There's
makes it just very interesting.
some bugs you have to disassemble. Like it's just it's big. It's bigly thought about, and I feel like a
And
lot of the characters are super. They have depth, in a way that not too many games right now have depth. Like, cause when I say depth, I mean like these characters have existed before the game started, kind of deal, right? So
mhm.
you'd have so many games that is like, okay, you're a soldier, gamer, and go shoot there. This game is more so like you're this character, you get hired, your whole life has been like taking pictures of things that may or may not exist. Like you're interviewing people. Like you get, first of all, you get introduced to your own character through your boss,
Mhm.
and your boss gets introduced by themselves, like while they were scolding you, and you could see like their name on the table. Like the storytelling in this game is so fucking good and fluent that I just admire it almost. And the music is so fucking good as well. Kind of
Yeah,
bug
it's a
and
fun
kind of
game.
snack. Try to catch him in your trap. Uh,
It's a good time for sure.
yeah, it's a blast. Uh, Many games are being updated right now. Power World, fucking Overwatch,
Yeah, Power
a
World
couple
got
more.
a pretty big update. They're adding PvP now, I think.
Yep, adding PvP.
So that'll be interesting.
True. We might have to go back and make a little island. There's we tried to do a little Lethal Company mod pack kind of deal, but some mod packs are fighting hardcore with each other.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Um, I don't think it's the mod pack. Nobody else was having problems that day.
Oh no, we were. Like mobs weren't spawning. Was the
Oh,
biggest
well, the
thing.
mob's not spawning
Yeah, that's mainly the fucking some
Yeah.
mod is canceling the mob generation, and the mob generate the
Did you guys go to like Titan at all? Like,
we went
or
to
did you
rent.
just?
We went to rent.
Okay.
Rent.
See, like, when you look at the monsters in the config, they have values depending on um, where you go.
Yeah,
And
but
I
like
feel like
dogs weren't spawning either.
at night.
Yeah, new bosses weren't spawning. The new the new bosses they added, the bird robots,
Mhm.
and the other one didn't spawn. Like nothing spawned except Slenderman, and that was it.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's the case, then maybe Slenderman is just the issue. But I
Yeah,
mean,
so we'll
that's
see
just
it.
gonna take like a
Yeah,
bit of troubleshooting and a bit
yeah,
of
no
like
worries.
trial
It's
and
something
error.
we're gonna, we or me or something, we're gonna figure it out. No
Don't worry, I'll
worries.
take care of it.
No, I don't want you to take care of it on your own this
Well,
time.
because I know you probably have no idea how to fix
Shut
this.
up. Shut
Don't
up.
even act like you would
I'm
know.
good. Of course I would. I'm a professional
The
gamer.
first thing to do.
I'm a professional gamer. The first thing I would do is uninstall That one mod that I said was probably probably the issue. Yo, but this week we're gonna be playing a lot of VR titles. Are you excited?
Oh yeah. No, I
I
am.
I'm
Well,
so excited.
you're gonna be doing Help Wanted too.
Oh shit.
That'll be interesting. And then
Yeah.
I'll hop in for No Man's Sky. We'll
Uh.
try to build a take over the galaxy,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then we'll be doing um what's the last one? Overwatch, right?
Yeah. We're gonna be playing Overwatch on stream too. It's gonna be the more so the community day, just to play some fun games with community with friends. We're gonna be gaming. We're gonna be earning that Mercy skin, the only one I care about, but it's all the way at the end, so I'm gonna have to buy the stupid pack. That's how they steal my money. They put Mercy in the fucking thing.
True.
The last one didn't get me with the Moira because I don't like playing Moira. I feel like me playing Moira is like it's like a pro player using auto aim. No, I'm just kidding. I just
Well,
I just
yeah.
didn't want to fucking get that skin that much. I was gaming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Even though it was probably the best skin in the game by far.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I just like to get
You just want the robot. Robot
well, I
skin.
just like to get skins that appeal to me. For Moira, I already have. Plus, it's like if I already have a skin for a
Yeah.
character,
Yeah.
then I'm probably gonna not be interested in getting another one.
True. That's kind of
Like
how
for
I feel.
Moira, I like the Lilith. For Pharah, I love the Inarius one. Um, for Sombra, Tracy, and I got that K-pop
Oh
pack,
yeah,
which
the
was
K-pop
great.
pack. Yeah.
I thought that was really good. Yeah, I mean, I think skins are kind of just like the icing or the cherry on the cake for me.
Also, good news. While we're just chilling here in the fucking podcast, shooting the shit. I just got a Steam key, so we might play this game next week. We'll probably play it next week.
So we're not gonna say anything about this.
Yeah, this is secret. Haha. Secret
But yeah,
gamers.
next week,
Expect
we'll
a secret
play a
game.
special game, and yeah,
It'll be fun.
announcement soon to come.
True.
I mean, let me see.
What? I'll let you see what?
Bugsnax. I'm just looking at what we've talked about.
Oh. But yeah, there's like so many mods, and like I'm trying to make. We're gonna have to find a way. Like I'll probably like install a little pre-made pack for Lethal Company.
Yeah, we talked about this where you're going to need an emergency pack.
Yeah, an emergency pack. Also, I want to try and make that game work in VR, because I feel like that would be fucking crazy.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe it won't be the best, but I really want to like make VR kind of be like a thing we do on stream, because it's so fun. It's just so fun. I've been playing some like VR games, and like mainly No Man's Sky, because I really love that game, and I feel like the people that made No Man's Sky like put so much effort into it. Like you don't pay for any of the updates. The updates are coming in, and they're like 10 gigabyte updates, and they're fucking crazy. They like fix things instantly. They're just a really good studio that cares about that game so much. Even after that rocky launch, that just at this point, honestly, does not fucking matter that the launch of this game was so rocky, because the game itself right now has just evolved into this beautiful creature that even if you bought it back then, if you update it, the game right now is like fucking amazing. So, uh, very nice.
Ooh.
And if playing it in VR is this cool, I can't wait to play it with you.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. 'Cause I never got as far as you with that game.
Oh my god.
Never
It's
got that far.
it's cuz me and my buddy, we made a safe where we were just hunting ships. We just went fucking all out and we were hunting ships, and I made a giant farm for money and like god, I made a giant farm for cash, okay? Like a base farm. Then I made then I got a ship, like a one of those freighters, like freighters. They're like a they're like a base that's in a ship, in like a giant ship that you can call and you can ride, and it's just fucking ginormous, and you have a fleet in there.
Mhm.
And my whole fleet is S class, my freighter is S class, and everything is like topped off. um and then I just I just started buying like legendary ships left and right, and I was scrapping them, buying them, scrapping them, buying them, like looking for specific parts, looking for specific things, upgrading, and I just got lost in the sauce, and then I stopped playing that game for like a year, 2 years, 3 years maybe.
Mhm.
And it's like now when I go back into that save, I'm like, how the fuck did I get this? And it's like,
Yeah.
how? When?
You're on the grind. You're the type of person who just likes to grind and grind and grind, you know?
Yeah, grindy games.
That's why
are
you have
just
so much
my
fit
type.
on what is it, Warframe?
Warframe, yeah. Yeah, Warframe was such a like the things I've accomplished in Warframe kind of stem from me um, not so much leveling up, but I focused all of my efforts onto one frame, and all my happiness derived from the frame, the Lotus, and all of that shit. And it was just I was kind of like a little soldier for the Lotus, and I
Mhm.
was just there, just doing every single mission, doing my thing, farming. But leveling was something that I wasn't focused on. So now I have friends that have played the game for like 3 months that are the same level as me.
Right.
But in reality, let's be honest, this little clown has like 7,000 hours in this game, and they have only like what 200. Like,
Mhm.
you know, it's easy to say who the gamer is.
Mhm.
No, I'm just kidding, but it's fun.
Hit him with it.
Hit them with it, put them in their place, gamers.
I'm in their place.
Yeah, can't wait. I can't wait for the next
Yeah.
major update for
For
Warframe
Warframe.
2. Yeah. I need a continuation. What the fuck? We left off at a little cliffhanger again. Damn it.
It's the way they're always gonna do it. It's a live service
I
game.
know, but I wanna. I want the big fucking.
You know what I heard? I
load
heard
ups.
that Helldivers 2 might be having trouble with the in-game economy.
Oh shit! Why?
Apparently, there's some exploits that you can use to farm like thousands of credits in like minutes or maybe even a couple hours.
Yo, what? Let's get on that. No, I'm just
Um,
kidding.
but it's like I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I mean, if they have it, it's bad.
I know, but it's like, would anybody buy credits in the first place? If you could just play the game and get
I
them?
mean, whoever wants to like I like the idea of you buy the credits if you want to support the devs. And it's like if you don't want to buy and if you don't want to support the devs in that way, you can support the devs by playing the game, and you in that case you collect them a little bit slower, but you still collect the in-game currency, right? Um but I feel like they should focus on patching that instead of taking out the idea of getting the currency from.
Right, but they're a small team. That's the biggest problem.
Oh, okay.
They don't have, they're like, not, they're kind of an indie dev team.
Okay.
They aren't
Then
AAA. They don't have a huge team of people who can like the team that's focusing on bugs are also the people that need to do
the
the war
updates.
bonds
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
updates. And they have a plan where every month they want to do a new war bond. So they have
Yeah.
like 1 month to get as many bug fixes in as possible. And this issue with the currency is like,
Killing them.
well, no, it's a big issue. Like it's bigger than just, oh, let's patch that out. It's way bigger than that.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and there's a lot of like it comes down to, I think, the philosophical aspect of their currency. Like, because like disconnecting from a match, for example, you keep your currency. That's part of the exploit.
Uh huh.
Um, but it's like that's there to prevent people from getting frustrated, right? If
Yeah.
they put in an hour, got currency, disconnected or get kicked,
Yeah.
like they keep what they collected.
Mhm.
But it's weird because people were saying this could become a big issue, but it's like the war bonds aren't like battle passes where they disappear. So there's no like I gotta get it now.
Yep.
So there's no reason to buy it with or without the exploit. It's almost like the exploit really doesn't mean anything, because you
Hmm.
still need to earn the medals to get the equipment that's in there. But
Yeah. So
there's
you still
also the
gotta
same
play.
exploit you use to get the credits, you could use to get the medals.
Okay. So it's like a game design flaw, straight up.
Kind of. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
That,
It's a multi-layered problem. I
right. That's
feel.
why it's like it may not be fixed within a month. It may not be fixed within 2, 3 months. It
Yeah.
may take some time for them to figure out
Damn.
what's the best way to go about this. I mean, at the end of the day, they need to make money to keep the
True.
servers up and running, but
True.
also, price of entry should be enough, I think. Right? Like paying to play the game should be enough.
Yeah.
Like like they deliberately designed the game to be consumer friendly. There's no reason to pay for credits if you can get them in the game. If you
Yes.
can get them in the game, then naturally you'll eventually have people exploiting that to maximize that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they didn't think that that would happen or that this was possible
Yeah.
when it's always going to be that way when you
True.
put players in front of a situation where it's like you have to grind for something.
I have to
Well, I don't want to
grind,
grind.
and
I want to
then they're
just
like,
have it.
I'm gonna simplify it, and I'm gonna.
And you know what makes it worse is the fact that the weapons you even unlock sometimes aren't that good anyway.
Oof.
So, in these new war bonds they released, some of the weapons aren't good. And that, again, goes to their whole design philosophy where it isn't about scaling things upwards as you unlock them. It's just about what's good for what situation. And, the things you started off with will be just as good as when you're at the max level cap.
Mm.
Nothing changes. It's just you and your skill as a
Yeah.
player
And then
changes.
the idea is that you're having fun, completing the missions and doing the things, doing the combat
Right, but the thing
in the
is,
way that you
that
want.
gameplay loop gets old really, really fast. Remember we've talked
True.
about this, about how
Facts.
you spawn on the millionth planet that's just dust and rocks, and
You find the
you
same
know
things that are just
we're still hunting for
corpses.
samples. We're still hunting for
Yeah.
the egg nest or the robot, fabricators. We're doing the same
Fabricators.
thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Um, My hope was that each planet we go to might have different environments, not just reskins or ice and fire, but like actual new structures and like areas where there might be a city or more human
What
presence.
you're
But it's
saying is
like,
like explorable, like kind of places.
well, I don't want to explore any of it, but it's like,
Oh.
it's like they're just giving you cheeseburgers constantly, but they're, instead of cheese and patty and bun, they're giving you lettuce this time, and then this time they're putting a tomato on it instead
Oh
of
shit.
lettuce, and
I
now you've
see.
got ketchup.
Now you got ketchup, baby.
It's just
Yeah.
like it's the same thing, just with different flavors of the same thing.
I see it, but I have a feeling like if it ain't broke, should you try and fix it?
I think if this is what the players want, keep it. I don't
Yeah.
want anything to do with it.
Yep.
You know, I'm not
Uh,
motivated to play it because I've been to, and I noticed this where when I was fighting the automatons, there's this red planet with a certain flora,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, I wonder if all planets are unique. No, when I went to the bug side, I saw the same planet,
Huh.
and when I went into that planet, it was the same environment. So they're reusing planets at some
Yeah,
point.
but again, you give them. I would give them like a break for that because, like you said, this is like an indie dev studio
Yeah, of
almost,
course, that's
and
fine,
they're
but
like,
the premise was that for me that I was expecting to see a lot of unique planets and
yeah, yeah. Well, I
different
mean,
things and
when games show you like different planets, when they show you a whole bunch of like different colored orbs on a sky map, your mind kind of defaults to like, holy shit, they've like calculated everything in on these planets, and everything's unique, and everything's like cool and beautiful, and like it's gonna be, or like some of them are gonna be really aggressive, and everything's gonna be different. But in reality, it's like 7 bases with recolors and different kind of, let's say, agro fauna on those planets, like the exploding fucking things,
mhm.
the ice exploding things, the fire exploding things, the the what's it called, the ones on the bug worlds where it explodes and it's like a gas. It's like I feel like I kind of expected it, and this game kind of played to what I would expect. So I'm not that uh, expected of them to like
Mhm.
go ham with it. Plus,
Mhm.
the game launched at $40, I think, for the regular edition,
Mhm.
and the battle passes are free. So it's definitely worth. Maybe down the line they would do like an update to or an overhaul of the planets or anything else. But I see that as like something they would do like really 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 down the road.
I
I
don't think they're gonna do that. They have no time for that.
well,
There's no way they're gonna do that.
true. Yeah. If they're gonna keep up with Warren Bond every month, that gets
Warbond
to
every
stay
month, bug
there.
fixes, weapon balancing.
Bug
People don't
fixes,
like the
weapon
way the
balances.
balances
Yeah,
work with the weapon. This
rebalancing.
weapon sucks. It just came out, looks good,
It
doesn't
looks
work.
good, doesn't work. Yeah, they're gonna
I mean, we had
suffer.
a whole thing where we were like, what are we missing with these weapon descriptions? What are we missing with these weapon specs?
Yeah,
None of it makes any sense.
yeah.
I don't know. And then it's like, okay, we put in a patch now this weapon is no longer as viable, but we made these other weapons viable.
Hmm.
Well, great. That weapon that was viable, I enjoyed using. Now I can't
Now
use
I
it because
can't use it, and you have to use the one that just got patched. It's
yeah,
it's kind of weird.
I'm not
It's
expecting much because they're an indie dev team, but they've released a game before. It'd be different if this was their first game. They
true.
released Helldivers 1.
Yep.
This is Helldivers 2.
Yep.
You know, and it may be new territory for them. They've never done a third-person shooter, and balancing is going to be very difficult, but you know, that's on them to figure out,
Yeah.
and they need to do a better job of explaining stats, making things consistent. That's one thing I hate
Yo,
about games like this.
you're telling me clarity in your menus is important?
I'm saying what's important is consistency. I always say
True.
that when I think about games. When I play it on Friday, I want it to be the same game I played on Monday.
Yep.
I don't want to sign in on Monday and now the thing I used that I had a lot of fun with, I got maximum enjoyment from, is no
It's
longer
now
viable.
worthless.
You
Welcome,
know,
gamer.
it's different if they want to make it. They want to say,
They
okay,
want to
we need
make
more
other
skill
weapons
to use
as
it.
good. No, I feel like this mentality of this is too good, we're gonna nerf it, is bad. I want I want you to buff the other things, okay? I lean into that category because then you can not only use the thing you like, but you give them options to use the other things that maybe before were dog shit,
Yeah.
and they could just use it.
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying that. I see a lot of people saying no to that, and it's like, what side am I on? I really don't know.
Well,
I'd like to think that if you release a game and if you don't have your balance set by then, uh, it's
it's
like,
really
I don't
hard,
know.
but
It's
balance
yeah,
is really hard.
balance is hard, but if
Because
something works, that doesn't mean it's broken
true,
to
but
me,
also yes, but that's what I'm saying.
especially in a PvE game.
Especially yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like if it works, don't nerf it, and then buff the other things. Just buff the other things so they're on the same level as this thing, and then you give people the fucking choice of which
Yeah.
one they want to use because they like the thing more. I like how Rex loved using the flamethrower,
Mm.
and even though it killed us, it was funny. But the flamethrower was really bad at the beginning because it basically
Yeah, they
didn't.
buffed it like crazy now.
And then
But
they
know what?
buffed
No,
it.
you know what it was? There's a bug with
What?
flame and fire.
What
The
happened?
fire doesn't do damage over time
Oh?
unless you're the host.
Oh.
That's why it sucks.
Oh. Well,
That's a major bug. So people who join someone who have like a fire build, they actually don't get to see the maximum output of their damage.
yeah. That's
Like with
that's
the
weird.
fire
That's a bug.
shotgun.
That is a bug. That's a bug. That is a bug.
Right, but it's like and that's a problem too because they were like we're going to make the fire stronger. Well, the problem is that the fire doesn't even work right now. It's not that it's
Yeah.
too weak. And now it comes into question when it comes to balancing, like what was balanced because it actually needed to be balanced and what was balanced because there's a bug making it not even perform to optimal levels at the baseline. And that's where it's like it just brings into question the whole balancing philosophy right now.
Yeah.
And it's like that's why when you release a game, bugs need to be handled like that as soon as possible, so that when you do start to balance, the balance is consistent between whether you're the host or whether you're not, or whether this gun does well because it works, you know?
Yeah.
Like that would be my biggest issue
Hmm.
with Helldivers 2, and that's why I don't really enjoy playing it anymore, is because they're constantly shifting balance. The new weapons aren't always that good. The weapon I used yesterday might be shit today because they released a patch or they updated the game, and missions are all the same at the end of the day. They seem to be releasing new missions, new enemies, but it's like I don't know, I'm
You're
kind of
just burnt
tapped
out.
out.
No, yeah, you're burnt out on it. I understand. Especially, I feel like the the
Like they seem to be in a philosophy of we're going to slowly patch in things like new enemies. We're going to slowly patch in things as
yeah.
the storyline in the galaxy, quote unquote,
I don't know.
progresses, which is
It's like
fine.
every game has bad things in it. Every game has like things that need to be fixed. But um, at the end of the day, the idea is when it comes to balance, you need to shift it in the direction that things need to be more fun for the players. Um, if it's funner, then the bad things are dumbing everything down and like giving you downer vibes. I feel like a game passes the vibe check, but if the problems overweigh the happy fun time of the game, then it doesn't pass the vibe check. I feel like you experience this game differently than how, let's say, somebody else would experience it, because they derive like the joy part of the game from different things. Uh, so I feel like you're right on a lot of these things. Like games need to be balanced and need to be checked and need to be like sanitized almost before they come out. But at the same time, my point is that you can't sanitize them perfectly because you don't have that huge of a player base to test out everything. Because once something releases, there's always a meta that creeps in. PvE games, PvP games, doesn't matter. There's always a meta. Uh, and that's more of a meta problem and meta users problem, and how the game decides to handle that meta, if they want to nerf the meta or they want to embrace the meta or they want to bump everything up to increase meta potentials. That's just up to the way they decide to like handle it. Is kind of uh, the thing that will make it or break it for like each person differently, right?
Yeah.
Because like some people are like fuck the meta and then they nerf it and they're like, oh thank god, now we can use my thing and they won't get kicked. Or they can buff the meta and then other people are gonna be like, oh hell yeah, I can use this railgun that I really love more now. Or they can buff the other weapons so that they're on the same par, and some people are going to be like, hell yeah, I love this, now I can use my thing with people that are using railgun and we can stack damage. And other people are going to be like, well, but now this they buffed everything so my railgun deals less damage. And it's like, yeah, sure. But yeah, everything kind of has balance upsides and balance downsides, and each of those are like personal. So which one is the worst one? You have to kind of pick which community you would have to pick to please with game balancing when it comes to that. But that's things that all games are going to face sooner or later. That's a thing Gigantic is going to have to face once a lot of people start playing it too. Because
Yeah.
meta BS is meta for a reason, because it makes everything easy and it streamlines the game to a point where if you're good at doing it, you excel drastically compared to other people who may not be as good or are not playing the same meta, kind of. But yeah, that's a meta problem, I feel like, and how they choose to handle it.
Yeah.
To end it on a good note, gamers, I've been playing the Reborn, Battleborn Reborn, and it's a fucking blast. It's exactly how I remember it. But Josh played it a little bit too, so I want to get your kind of takes on what you think while you were playing it, gamer.
I think the PvE was a lot of fun, and I thought playing some of the characters was enjoyable. I only played 2 of them. I played, I think, 2 maps of the PvE. I thought the dialogue was really rough, and if I muted the dialogue, I'd probably have way more fun. It was just very, I said this before, very juvenile with its dialogue, and I just wasn't enjoying listening to players or like characters in the PvE, not just the player I'm playing as, but just the characters talk. It was very, nails on chalkboard kind of vibe. Like I said, it was fun though, and I enjoyed leveling up my character. My worry is when I play PvP, how it's going to play out with leveling the character, and my issue with Gigantic may be the same issue I have with Battleborn. It could be readability, it could be the variation every time I play. Someone's going to be behaving differently, the consistency between matches when I fight a certain character. So all that I have to figure out once the game finally reaches a point where I can play the PvP and finally experience it and play enough that I can develop a kind of a final thought on it.
Yeah.
And For now, though, the PvE is a lot of fun. I think if I could play co-op and increase difficulty, that would be great. But the community is doing a good job at
True.
developing that.
Big
And
ups.
we talked about this where um Gearbox owns the rights to Battleborn.
Yep.
I don't see a lot of people talking about that. Apparently, a lot of people think 2K still owns it,
Yeah.
but I mean, this is Randy talking, so maybe there is something there to it where it's like maybe they don't own the full rights, but Randy claims that they own Battleborn the IP so that they can do something with it if they want to. They see that the community is enthusiastic. This was back in 2001 or
Hmm.
2021, excuse me. So they want to do something with the IP, but we've talked about Gearbox before. They don't have a lot of income from like big IPs and big names, so their focus right now is just all in on Borderlands.
Yeah.
I was saying my theory is after Borderlands 4, I'm thinking they'll do a Battleborn, but I'm thinking they're going to do a Battleborn 2. I do not want to see a re-release like Gigantic did.
Yeah.
I
Me neither.
mean, I want to see new engine, new graphics,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
same characters, more characters. I
Yep.
want them to rethink the strategy with the game, and modernize everything. Appeal to the modern sensibility. When someone plays a MOBA, there are certain things they expect. And one of the things that I think Gigantic got right was having builds that you could just select and then it auto upgrades for you, so that way you don't have to stop in the middle of battle to apply a skill point. Um, I think that's something Battleborn should do, so that way you can just play and your
Yep.
character seamlessly upgrades throughout the process.
Oh, also,
Um,
I didn't know that I had to upgrade my character. That was also not explained because in Rush you don't have to. But in
yeah, you're level 10 in Rush
you're level
instantly, I
10 on
think.
Rush instantly, and it's like in Clash, it's not explained that you gotta level up to level 10. It's like you need to select
Yeah,
your things.
there's a
Jeez.
lot about Clash that I think casual players might struggle with.
Yeah.
But having the build screen and having the auto upgrade screen allows them to skip that whole process.
True.
And I think that is a
Should be on by
lifesaver.
default.
Auto upgrade is on by default,
Then what was it off
and
for
they
me?
give you default builds to choose from.
Hmm.
So that does it's not like you have to
Yeah.
build something for yourself.
Well,
As long as you don't turn off auto upgrade. It's on by default too, I'm
well,
pretty sure.
I don't know why mine was off then. I don't know.
You might have turned it off. You might have
Maybe.
looked at it, turned it off, and thought,
Maybe.
I don't want to,
I don't want this turned off. What is this?
right, you don't
I,
want to,
I
so.
don't know what it was.
But with
Maybe.
Battleborn, yeah, I would say if
You.
I was, like, if I had to think about something to do with Battleborn as
Mm-hmm.
an IP, let the community handle the first Battleborn,
Mm-hmm.
because doing a re-release might be a little difficult
Doing a
of the
real.
first Battleborn.
Say it. Say it. Say it. It's a big fucking miss. Why would you re-release it?
Well, no, it's not a big miss.
I don't like it. I don't like that
I'm just
idea
saying that
of them re-releasing
2K's
it.
name is attached to the first one.
Yep.
It's built on Unreal Engine 3.
True.
It uses a lot of Borderlands 2 style.
Comedy.
Well, not well, yeah, but I feel like there's the save feature, like where the name pops up in the corner and you see the spinning. That's just something from like Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel,
Mm.
where you'd sign in, you'd get the main menu, and you'd see your name pop up in the corner there. It would
Yep.
load. Like those are all Borderlands 2 features
Mm.
that were kind of ported into Battleborn that they used as part of the infrastructure, so to speak. And yes, the humor is very Borderlands 2, but like
Yep.
I want them to try and create something that's unique and it could still be a part of the Borderlands universe without being so, like, it's almost like when you played Battleborn, you almost could tell the game's DNA was Borderlands. Like
Yes.
it's just missing the sirens and it's just missing sanctuary, it's missing the loot and the unique weapons. Like
Oh
that's
no,
all it's missing.
it's not missing the loot because you got gear, but
Well, I'm talking about weapons
true.
in
I
terms of
know.
loot, the
I know. I'm
shield.
being a nerd.
But yeah, it does. But that's also a thing that I want them to look at is the gear, the loot drops, and like try to figure out a way to where maybe that isn't so completely random. I don't know how they would do it, but I just don't like because there's grind in things like Overwatch, right, to get a certain skin.
True.
And then there's grind in games like Helldivers where you want a certain weapon and certain gear.
True.
And then there's grind in games like Borderlands where you're trying to get a certain build.
True.
And it's like, there's enough grind in the world. Can we figure out a way to like just make the game about playing the game?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have to grind for gear at the end of the day. If
Yeah.
especially the gear doesn't really make an impact in the PvP until like the last 2 minutes. It seemed like the gear was an afterthought. Like if that's the way it's supposed to be in terms of the legendary gear.
No, I feel like for well, there's different play styles, right? There's you could just be a little hunter and you can focus on collecting the shards and then you can get the gear, but then you don't get the levels to level up your character because you're doing is you're hunting for gear slots. But like it's just a choice you have to make. Like do you balance your gear or do you go uh lower rank gear and then you buy like things like turrets and you focus on killing the enemy and like it's just a whole different thing. Like when you get to it you'll see what it is, but it's
Right.
like it's really different because I know it sounds like it's like oh shit like I got this thing and I gotta upgrade it, and it's like no, it's way simpler. It's way less intrusive to your game.
Yeah, I'm just saying in Borderlands 2 or in Battleborn 2, let's figure out what we're doing.
Yeah,
Because the
we can
gear
streamline
seems
that.
like an afterthought. Like they created the characters, they created the PvP, and then they created the PvE, and they're like, let's give characters gear and PvE, just like Borderlands, because that's what we do. And then they were like, oh, let's add the gear to PvP as well to give them incentive. It
Mm,
doesn't seem like it was well thought out, is what
I
I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't agree with that. I liked having the gear in there because if you're see like gear also helped you if your character is, let's say I'm a Rundy and I haven't upgraded that thing that gives me fire rate instantly. Um, you as a as a player, you have the option to like go around the map for like 10 seconds or whatever, and go and gather some of those crystals or gold or whatever, so you can upgrade a gear like a lower level gear, so you get just like 5% more like attack speed, so you can kind of have a chance to combat the other
Mhm.
players as well if you get ganked or anything. Like it's just the thing that you personally want to like do, right?
Right.
And it shows you in the thing, it shows you which items they have and which items they've activated, right? So it's so you know if they have like higher what's called higher fire rate or whatever. Like it's just a thing.
Yeah, and I just don't like that commons and rares and legendaries, the disparity between them means you might just want to bring all commons. So why even bring a legendary?
Well,
That to
it just
me it's just
depends.
like I want to get it down to its purest form for
Yeah,
PvP
I
because
understand that.
that's where the best gameplay can happen.
Yes, but then you have Quake.
Well, Quake is completely different.
Well,
than
no,
a
but
game about leveling and
yes, but
building into your
that's the thing.
character.
You're like, I want the game to just at the end of the day be my skills versus your skills, and I'm telling you, you have that, and it's Quake, or you have
Well,
that,
no, I'm
and it's some other
saying with
game
the
that
game
does that.
like Battleborn, just like with Gigantic, there isn't anything extra to it. If you're doing better than the other team, you're leveling faster. So that's your incentive to do better and to actually kill the other team.
Yeah,
I haven't played Battleborn PvP, but if I could just run off and get some items and then or get some gold or whatever and activate an item to get like a plus 5%. Like I want the incentive to be in the team fight, get kills, level up faster so you'll be better. That's just what I want the core of the gameplay to be. Keep the game mode, you know?
but
The minions go
why does the
in and
smallest thing? But what does the smallest thing mean that that's the game? The game isn't like go around collect gold. That's a
well, I
thing you
just don't
just
want that
do.
option for me.
Well, I
I
understand that
because
you
I
don't
don't
want it, but the thing is that it's not that big of a deal as it's
That's why
being
I'm
made out to be.
saying you keep Battleborn for people who want it.
Yeah.
When Battleborn 2 gets developed, rethink that. Try something else.
Yeah, they can
Make the
rethink it.
game
They could do.
make the game more about the combat and
Yeah.
the team fights and less about because I feel like people might get confused. Should I be trying to get my gear? Should I be fighting in the battles? What is my objective here? You know, the objective should be clear. Be involved in the team fights, be involved in the moment-to-moment battles, set up turrets so that way you can push forward and it's harder for them to push you back. It should just be very simple and very straightforward. So that way the complexity comes down to the team fights,
But
and making
you also get gold from like killing other teammates and like killing
yeah,
their
that's
mobs
fine.
and
Lean
whatever.
more into the turret side of things,
Well, that's
building
what they
better
have.
turrets, enhance your minions.
Yeah,
You know, don't worry
you get
about the
gold from
gear
that
side of
too.
things.
They just
That's what
have
I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. Like they should focus on that for the second game, but I'm saying that it wasn't. It's like I have gold left over. I can upgrade this.
Yeah,
I can upgrade my
I
gear.
think that the like perhaps with if your tank or whatever the monster shields are down, you could
Mhm.
deposit gold to regen a percentage of that based on your gold count. Regenerate the shield
Mm.
while you're in the fight. Go back, regen the shield, something like that. So just something to where the focus is the battle, the focus is the
Mhm.
moment to moment, and not on the gear. Because I do think the gear might complicate things for some players. They might be like, I want, because it like you would tell me, like you're like, yeah, I got these legendaries, but they don't matter because by the time you're done, it'll be 2 minutes left or maybe a minute left. Then
Well,
you can activate it,
hear me
or
out.
you
Like
won't even make enough
this is
money
for
to
like
use
the
it.
general. This is like I'm telling you in a general match. That is a thing that can happen. There are games where the teams are like stalemated and those games take longer. You have more time to like collect gems, collect this,
Mm.
collect that, and then you have the ability to level up these higher tier slots. Right? I I used to play. I used to run one one rare, no, one uncommon, one epic, and one legendary, and at the
Mhm.
end of almost each game, I either had uh, the epic and the uncommon, or the uh, sometimes I would have the uncommon and I go straight for the legendary. Like it's there's just variabilities. Like it's not always the exact same, and it's not always the exact way I'm describing it. There are games that have like shifts. There's games that continue for like so long you can have like fucking four of the things. And I remember having a game where we were just fighting for like turrets the whole game. It was like it was a big choke point, and there were like three turrets on each side, and we were just trying to push them back by snuffing their turrets and placing our turrets there so we can push them even harder. It just had. The game was complicated, but it wasn't over complicated. to like it's not even complicated. What would I call it? It's complicated, but it's straightforward is what I would say. So that was the thing. You'd have like you'd have your gold and then you'd have your other things.
Yeah.
Functional gaming. Because you're pro gamers. I don't know. It's some people like it, some people don't. But at the end of the day, not every game is for everyone. I understand that, and I hope
I'm just
in the next
saying if
game
they
they don't
want
have
to
it.
reach a broader crowd, which I imagine that's what they want to do
Yeah,
with an IP like Battleborn, then let's make the game straightforward.
maybe they'll make it like the gigantic, where you have the mode where it doesn't use any gear or whatever, and then you have the mode that does use gear because I think they already had that in the first one. I'm not sure. Probably didn't. I may be misremembering. But I remember joining games where nobody had any gear equipped. Me included. Which was fucking weird. I don't know. Maybe it was a bug. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I think it should be an option though. Because the gear was cool because a thing that you did in PvP was impacting to an extent your PvP performance, and I felt like it was cool because you're like, yo, this is my legendary update 2.0 fucking mod that I've gotten from this thing because I farmed it for 20 minutes and I got it, and I'm gaming here, and if you guys, I'm a challenger. If you get me, if I manage to get myself up to like 1,400 points or whatever, I'm gonna destroy everyone. Hee hee. Or it puts like a target on your back as well. So I don't know. It's I can do without it. I can do with it. I just think the Battleborn was cool, and I need something like that to exist because I like
Yeah.
the PvP, the first person MOBA thing. I feel like it's a giant miss that nobody's doing it.
Well, like I always tell you, sometimes there's a void in a market that just doesn't need to be filled. No
True,
one, there's not enough people that want it.
maybe.
Or the fact that that area is those people who would otherwise want it, like if, let's say, Overwatch didn't exist, there would be more of a demand for it.
Yeah, maybe.
Overwatch simplifies everything to a point where it just comes down to you how you use your character.
Yeah, I would say Overwatch is like mega sanitized, and you know what I mean by that now. So
Hmm.
it's like it's just everything is balanced. Your characters do a thing, and they excel at that thing, and then there's no holes, there's no loopholes. You're
Yeah,
just doing the thing.
everything
Everything
meets
gets patched.
expectations.
Everything's perfect. Everything has its strategy and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that's like a comp game thing.
Yeah, and I think Battleborn 2, they should lean into that because that was successful for Overwatch 2, or for Overwatch in general. It was
True.
successful for them to lean into the comp. Say, yes, you're going to be able to do really well with this player or with this character if you know what you're doing. There's no surprises.
True, but to
What
what
you see,
extent?
you get.
To what extent would you say is it?
Hmm.
To what extent do you think that that has just fucking destroyed creativity in PvP games?
Well, I think there's a lot of creative characters in Overwatch that are very unique. They're very different. Each like for support, you've got a bunch of different ways you can support your team, and they have a kit that is very unique, right?
Okay.
You see, there's a point in games, especially PvP, where you get so creative. Lawbreakers is a great example.
Lawbreakers.
You get so creative and stand so far outside of the norm that nobody likes it. I
True.
feel that way with Gigantic sometimes. where they're
True.
standing so far outside of the norm of what MOBA usually does that it's difficult for me to say, I absolutely unequivocally love this, right?
Yeah, but
And that can be a problem for people sometimes.
it's like I don't know how to say it. Like I understand you,
Hmm.
but do you not think that games that are just outside of the fucking like outside of the whole thing, do you think that those games should just like fucking not exist or conform?
I think the market decides what should exist and what shouldn't exist. The
True.
people decide.
True.
Battleborn and Overwatch existed in the same universe. One of them doesn't anymore. The
But
people
what do
have just
you
chosen.
think? I want you to choose, not fuck the people. Do you think the
Well,
games that are
my
thinking
opinion
outside
doesn't
the
matter. That's why.
yeah, but
When it comes to this, what matters is
what the people
what
buy,
people are
I
willing to pay
understand.
for.
I
Like
understand.
I can tell you all day until I'm blue in the face. Yes, let's be creative. Yes, artistic and all this stuff, and everything should be special. And it's like,
All right,
but no one's
cool.
going to pay for it.
Yes.
And so, how are you as a studio going to pay your bills, pay your employees, keep the lights on, make another game if no one buys the creative vision that you have?
True, but then I think PvP games are gonna fucking die because there's gonna be like at the end of the day four sanitized perfect games that are just gonna be the exact same fucking shit as all the other ones. And then it's gonna at some point it's a bleak future, but hear me out. If we're boiling down every single game with a unique kind of mechanic, if we're boiling all of them down to like either massively lean into League of Legends or massively lean into Dota or massively lean into Overwatch, and they're these like grandparents of games that have just been at the top for like thousands of years. If all of them kind of lean into that, is it just like does it become at some point not as fun or no?
I don't think so. People have been playing Call of Duty for fucking, I want to say 2, 3 generations now. Because
True.
Call of Duty's been out for years, and we can sit here all day and be like, how do you just play Call of Duty forever? People have been playing FIFA for years. They keep buying the games.
Yo.
That's the thing, is if they keep buying it, if they keep wanting it, and if this is what the masses want, this is what's going to be made.
True.
Now, of course, there's plenty of indie devs out there trying to make PvP games. They get released and they die.
We need a
There's plenty
shift.
there's plenty of people out there who take your point of view and your perspective and they go with it and they make their passion
Yep.
project,
And
but
then they
nobody
fucking
plays
fails.
them.
Yep. Well,
But that doesn't mean that what they created is bad. It means that people aren't playing those games,
people at the moment have a
or
comfort
they're
zone is more so what I'm fucking leaning into,
well,
and
think of it like this too. When Overwatch released, when Battleborn released, there wasn't a game out there that was like that. I mean, TF2 existed, but there wasn't a game that reached multiple consoles and multiple people with that kind of gameplay.
yeah. But like
Call of
Overwatch
Duty,
released and the characters were fucking amazing and everything was like super fun. People were having fun playing that game with their friends. They were trying out new shit and it was new and it was cool and it was fun.
and every day you got on, every match you played, you knew the Winston would just leap at you, throw his shield down or whatever. I don't remember how Winston was back in the day. But my point is every match, the person you played against, if they knew how to play, you knew what to expect.
Okay.
And that's why with PvP, consistency is important. Because if you want to bring up Quake, if you met someone who had a railgun, which is the long-range sniper weapon,
Mhm.
you knew that they might get you at certain angles. They might shoot you from long range, so you have to play a certain way.
Mhm.
And you knew if they had a rocket launcher, they might bounce you around if you got too close, and then you might miss your shots. You might so the consistency of the game has to remain at a certain point. There could be moments where it's like this battle is not consistent. We're missing shots. We're doing this whatever. That's fine. But when it comes down to the fact that this character is now different, their ability is completely different. For example, like in the case of Gigantic, where you can completely change a character's ability and it does something different. Each match is going to feel like a guessing game of what is this character going to be built like this time? What is this person going to do this time? And it's not going to be as fun as I hop in and I see like a Bridget, I know she's going to have the shield. She's going to want to be healing people. She's going to have a certain mentality that I can try to predict what she's going to do and play accordingly. That's why with PV, that's why with games like Overwatch and with games like Dota, the consistency has created and fostered the community to have these big comp scenes. You know, it's because that when you go into a comp game, you know what to expect, and when a Tracy outplays another character, it's amazing because it's not like they had anything special on them. They were just Tracy. They were teleporting, they were reversing through a bomb, blasting them with the dual wield. It makes it more impressive than if they had a gear or if they had an alteration to an ability that made them slightly better and applied bleed and did weakening and all this other stuff. It's that's why it's like the pure the purest form of the gameplay, where if you want to elevate it off of something like Quake, where it's just first person shooters and movement, you can do that and still have the special creative aspects of it. It's just about nailing down the gameplay and keeping it consistent from match to match. So people aren't confused, the gameplay's straightforward, new players can hop in and just understand by playing that this is what's happening.
I really hope
User
games branch out a little bit from that kind of
I mean, I agree. I mean, like with
sanitized
Payday,
thing. It's really, well, you see in single player games you have this thing where you're like, I'm doing the exact same thing over again, and yeah, the planets have the fucking different skins, but they're the exact fucking same. Every time I
mm,
walk into an Overwatch game, it's the exact same shit. They have a fucking Bridget, I know how to kill Bridget.
right.
If they
Yeah.
walk in, I see a Reinhardt, I know how to kill a Reinhardt. And it's like, okay, cool. How many times am I gonna do this? This is like, I would say that's why I'm telling you that Overwatch is my brain dead game, because I can walk in there and I know what all the characters are doing,
Right.
and I can shut down my brain and I can just shoot and hit my shots, and I will be killing things from time to time. And or if I'm a healer, I'll be healing and I'll be hitting my shots and healing or killing from time to time. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be my brain shut off game. But when I play a game like, even with all its flaws, gigantic, or even with all of its flaws, what's called? Well, I can't play Battleborn right now. What's a different PvP game that I play that I don't even play that many PvP games, but like from those two that are like MOBA likes, uh, MOBA lights, like light MOBAs,
Hmm.
I I can also turn off my brain and do all the things. Like, it's just a flow kind of for
Hmm.
those games, as well as in Overwatch. But like, you just have an extra little mechanic to them. And I don't think that those extra little mechanics can kill the flow as much as like something groundbreaking, like changing a fucking mode from like level 2 to like level 10, right? It's it's or like having bad menus that don't explain that much. It's not that big of a fucking difference. It's just another extra little layer that's there to like engage your brain just a little bit more, switch up your thought process, give you a little more options. Uh, yeah, that's just it. I don't feel like it's a game breaker or a game destroyer or nullifier of other games. It's just a new mechanic.
I mean, the only thing that I could compare it to is food. You sometimes you'll make food and you'll be like, I'm gonna add this little spice, and it's not gonna do anything. Just add this little spice, a little bit
Yeah,
of difference, and sometimes it fundamentally changes the flavor profile of the food.
true.
It happens all the time when
Yeah,
I'm like experimenting in the kitchen. Let's
yeah,
just add this little spice to see what happens. Oh
yeah.
my God, what did we do? It's the same thing with games. Sometimes just enough is perfect. And if you add any more, if you do anything different, it goes too far to the left or too far to the right. And I think what people want, especially when we're talking about people who like go to work and they have jobs or they have lives outside of games, they aren't playing it all the time, that when they come and play a game like Overwatch, the consistency helps them to feel comfortable. And, for you, it might be a game where you just shut down and you just shoot. And for others, it's a game where they have to figure out what is their team playing? What is the enemy team playing? How should I play? Is this pick I chose good? Do I want to switch? Do I want to stay here and work on this?
Well,
It
for
becomes more than just
well, that's what I'm saying. I've
I
already
show up and
like
shoot.
it's already like because I don't play the PvP game, the what's it called, not the PvP. I don't play the comp thing. I don't concern myself that much about what the comp is
Mhm.
necessarily, but I do know the basics of what uh, competitive comps should be, right? And that's for Overwatch. That's just your little layer, your extra little layer that you put on there, caring about what your teammates are picking. The way I would say that adding uh, a leveling up system to a game is, well, maybe it's not as extravagant. Okay, I fucking lost you there, but it's
Well, I
it's
was just gonna say one of them is artificially placed on purpose, the other's there, and you can choose to care or not. That's really as simple as it gets, right? You
okay.
can choose to care if the enemy team is going to perform a certain way with their comp. With other games with the leveling, you're forced to care.
Okay, you
You
can
need to
choose to
care.
care. You can choose to care if you, as a Pharah, use the boosters to like reach higher ground. You can choose to care about that. It's like,
But do you see what I'm saying? That extra layer you're talking about that I care about is a choice. I can choose to care about that, or I can decide I don't, and I want to
you,
play what I want to play.
yeah, you can
For
also
games,
not care about that,
right, that's my
but
point,
then you're
is
weaker.
for exactly, for games where you play with the leveling, I need to care about that because I will be weaker as a result, not because I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's forced. For Overwatch, it's not forced.
Well,
You
yeah,
can
but then
choose to care or choose to not, and it doesn't
it's
make
like
you any less.
I understand that, but that's what I'm saying is that does the other game deserve to like be there compared to not so much compared to, but like does it deserve to exist now that we have Overwatch, which is simplified, sanitized, and people are updating it. People obviously fucking care for it. It's being updated, new skins, new everything, new season. Does that game deserve to exist in a game where you already have the sanitized versions, sanitized slash perfected versions of these games? Does this quirky game deserve to exist? And what you're saying is that yes, it does, but people don't support it, so no, it doesn't. There we
I'm
go.
saying that the people have decided that
Yes,
they don't want that.
yes. Then we shouldn't discuss it. So why the fuck are we discussing it?
Well, I'm just telling you the reason why Overwatch can even outlive massively negative reviews.
Yeah,
People still play it because at the end of the day, when they get on, nerfs or not, buffs or not, things are going to be relatively consistent
yeah,
match to match.
yeah,
And when you're talking about, oh, what about these added layers and it adds creativity and all this stuff? It's like, yeah, in those other games, those layers are tacked on. They're artificially tacked on and forced into the game. Whereas with Overwatch, the extra layer is usually just figuring out the team and the way that they're playing, and then playing in a way that you can be better than their team composition, which isn't artificially tacked on. It's there as something that you need to decide to play with. And just like you said, I play Overwatch 2 to be relaxed. It's like you have decided that that's not a layer that you want to pay attention to. Perfect. There's a lot of people that do that. And that's why Overwatch 2 is really liked, because there's that option to just play casually. You don't have to care about your level. You don't have to care, do I need to slot points over here? Do I need the heavy armor pen or do I need all this extra stuff? You could just play casually, relax, and not care. But then they also say, listen, if you care, come over to ranked, play with all the comps, and care. And when you swap from quick play to ranked, that's the only difference, is now you have to care about your comp. And now you have to care about who you're fighting against. Now you have to care. That's the only difference. There's no, like, builds. There's no extra like stuff to it. It's the same game at its core. You're playing the same game.
Man,
That's
just
why Gigantic was difficult because we played Rush, then we went to the comp mode or the premier kind of
the
main mode, which was Clash, and it felt jarring. I could take you into quick play for like a couple months, and then say let's go play ranked, and the only difference is that the enemy team's hitting harder because they're synergizing. And they know that if they have this character and they throw, like, let's say a tank has an Ana, they throw anti-heal, I'm gonna go in deep. They can't heal. They'll just know. Like, there's no, like, our Ramsey's built in a way where he's just fucking unkillable, you know? And
yeah.
now I don't know what to do. I throw my hands up. That's what I'm talking about as to why Overwatch 2, as sanitized as it may be to you, is successful.
No,
That's why.
it doesn't matter to me. It is sanitized. It's baseline
No,
sanitized.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
despite that, that's why it's successful.
Well, of
That's why
course,
creative games sometimes they get too creative and they miss the mark.
I understand that too, but I'm saying that I would like to be in a place where those games have the ability and the chance to fucking exist, because we lost out on a good game which, even though it had like layers that you may not like and players may have not liked, it was a fun experience where it wasn't super serious, because you
Hmm.
didn't have fucking ranked, they didn't have plans for ranked, they didn't push for ranked. It was just, you join this game, you play with your friends slash team, and the idea is it's like a mobilite. You do these things, you level yourself up. The games were pretty long. It wasn't over in like 10 seconds. You have these bosses you can go and you can kill, and they can join your forces. It was just this fun little experience
Hmm. Hmm.
that I don't know. It's like a different fucking game. I don't
That's
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's all it
it
is.
was
It's a
fun.
different game.
Yeah, and it was fun, and I want it back because it was fun.
Maybe one day the community will have the
Hopefully,
servers up.
fingers crossed. And that day, I'm
Maybe
gonna fucking
Gearbox will
drag your ass
release
back.
Battleborn 2.
Yep, and that day I'll drag your ass.
Yeah, I'll play it. I will give you a serious opinion on
Yes,
the
and I
PvP.
want a fat, serious opinion. And then when you're like, this game is ass, dog, I don't want to play this shit no more, I'm gonna be like, okay.
Well, the problem is I come to it very neutral. I'm not in favor of either or. I'm just giving it to you straight.
Yeah.
That's what I'm good at.
Well,
I'm
it's
not trying to say, because I'm not an Overwatch fanboy. I just recently got into Overwatch maybe last year. And I can already see after playing for as long as I have why
why
the game
people
is so
like it.
popular,
Yes.
why people like it. And when I played Get Gigantic, when you showed me the gameplay of Battleborn on that YouTube, I see why people may not have liked it. I see
Mm-hmm.
why the things you think are so great, other people may think are flaws. It doesn't mean that one game is better than the other. It doesn't mean that one game is worse than
Yeah,
the
and we
other.
can't really compare them because they're completely fucking different games.
Yeah, but when one, you see, the problem too is it's almost like Back for Blood. You've marketed the game to be as if it can be compared to another game. Back for Blood marketing said, we are the guys behind Left 4 Dead, even though the game at its core really isn't like Left 4 Dead. There's a lot of mechanics in there that differentiate it
The reason why
from,
people compared it to Overwatch was because they both had heroes.
well, yeah,
Okay? That was
because
stupid. I feel like that was a
Overwatch
bad fucking
marketed
comparison.
itself as a hero shooter.
Yes.
Right? There weren't really any MOBA elements. The problem that Battleborn had is it was a hero shooter that marketed itself as a MOBA shooter. But MOBA had already an audience at that point who liked this game. And Battleborn didn't lean enough into that game to capture that audience. But they weren't trying to sell themselves too much as a hero shooter, so the audience who wanted hero shooters went to the game that marketed itself as a hero shooter. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I'm
With
lost.
in terms of the marketing. They said, "Oh, we're a hero shooter with MOBA Lite." They didn't lean. It's almost like Master of None. You
I don't
lean.
remember what the marketing was back in the day. Sorry.
No, here's what you do.
I don't know it.
What does the description for the game say?
I don't fucking know.
was a hero shooter with elements of multiplayer online battle arenas. So hero shooter with elements of MOBA.
Yeah.
So it didn't lean too far in either way. It tried to do both, but it did neither of them really well. That's what I'm trying to say in terms of the marketing and in terms of people when they had an expectation based on that, what the game used to describe itself. They came in, saw what it was, and if they were expecting MOBA, they would say Dota or League does it better, so I'm going to go play those. And if they were expecting hero shooter, they would say Overwatch is doing it better, I'm going to go play that. So they couldn't capture either crowd. They didn't go in either way enough. That's why when I tell you when they do a Battleborn 3 or 2, they need to choose a lane. Pick a lane,
I
be
don't
good
like
at
that.
it.
I don't like that.
I always say this because it's consistency. You
Yeah,
never
I
want to be
understand.
somebody who does 5 to 10 things, but you do those 5 to 10 things mediocre. Pick one thing, be super good at it, and excel at it, and that will get people to say, this team is really good at X. They're not good. They're not going to say they're really good at X, Y, and Z. Because odds are you're going to not do X, Y, and Z perfectly. Because your attention is split between all three of those things. Do X perfectly. Do it right. Do it all the time. Be the best at it. And embrace that mentality of I am the best at it. That's what Dota does. That's what League does. That's what Overwatch does. They say we are this niche. We are attacking this audience. And we are the best at this. And so those audiences gravitated towards them. That's the biggest issue with doing like we want to be like a hero shooter with MOBA elements. You have to lean one way really hard and capture that audience. That's just a marketing thing. I mean, they could have said
Maybe
something
next
else
time.
about what the game is.
Maybe next time. Next one. Next one, lads.
What do you mean?
Maybe Battleborn 2 will
Yeah,
lean
I
more
think
into the other stuff. But I
they
have a
should lean
feeling.
more into Overwatch and do hero shooter because that
Mm,
they have the core there. They have the heroes, and that's like the core of the game. And I would love to see that.
okay, then I'm just bad, and I want the game to fail again. Cause
No, you're
I
not,
just
dude.
really
You
don't
don't
wanna.
don't take it personal.
Yeah, cause it's like I don't want it to change that much or that drastically. I would say, at most simplify some of the stuff, make make like gear have like make a mode without the gear, keep everything else because everything else worked and functioned well. From what I remember, nothing stood out as like being a huge fucking issue, other than people were hungry for a Call of Duty with hero elements, and Overwatch hit that shit more. And the MOBA crowd didn't care that much about first person games, so they couldn't drag those people in, and it just fucking became what it became. And then the game did some stupid shit which made it disliked from the community as well. And it's like it's just things that just fucking happened, okay?
And you
Anyway,
know what?
closing statement.
Here's my closing statement, really
Go
quick.
ahead.
For Battleborn 2, because Battleborn 1 PvE was so good, they should lean into that too. Let's keep the PvP sanitized so that way people can have a consistent experience. And in the PvE, let's make it to where that's where the special sauce happens. That's where all the great stuff happens. The co-op raids, you know? I mean, by the end of Battleborn 2, they only had about 9, maybe less missions, right? I'm sure they had a lot of plans to do more.
Wait, what?
For Battleborn 1, when they had the PvE, I don't know how many missions they had.
15.
15, perfect. But they should
15
lean
raids.
into that way more.
Well,
Way more.
well,
Do more of that.
they could.
PvP, let other people play with that. You know, good job, guys. I'm glad you're having a comp scene, whatever. PvE is where our main selling point is. You know what? That could be, again, dude, what did I say last time? What did I say last time? I said Overwatch 2 dropped the ball. PvE. They had it all. They said, listen, we're going to give you PvE. You're going to have unlockable abilities. You're going to have all these upgrades. We're going to give you all this cool stuff. You can unlock skins. What should Battleborn 2 do? Do exactly what Overwatch 2 set out to do but failed to do, and appease the crowd that they have lost.
True,
And
they
there
could.
you go. You want to talk about a void that you can fill? That's a void you can fill, and you can fill it really well because Battleborn did PvE well. It was a lot of fun to play that game.
True.
Just nail down the dialogue, nail down the character dialogue, make it more interesting to experience and synergize with your team. Gear, you want to talk gear? Put gear in PvE. You want to have people hunting for legendaries where their main mode is PvE. I'm hungry for legendaries. And in PvP, get rid of all that stuff. Sanitize it. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the hard truth. Sanitize it so that way all the people who play Overwatch 2, who want the PvE, but they want to go back to PvP with all their cool PvE skins, give them something to do. Give them something to come here for. That's the solution. That's how you bring Battleborn 2 back. And then after Battleborn 2 comes, and if it's a success, we can talk about rebranding or redoing a Battleborn 1, where everything you want is kept in place. Or you let the community handle that, and they'll just bring it back as is, Unreal Engine 3, the way it was meant to be. Final thoughts for you.
I want my game back because I think it was really cool the way they did it with the fucking 3 lanes, and it was a MOBA that I enjoyed playing. It was really fucking stupid. I just don't want it to be another hero shooter PvP with like small maps, relatively small maps, one line, just brain dead. All you care about is what your teammates are doing, so you can cry at them, heal me, defend me, do the thing. It's going to start facing the exact same problems that Overwatch is facing, but Overwatch has had like fucking 10 years of fucking how long has Overwatch been out? Like 7 or 8 years?
Long time.
Yeah, it's Overwatch has faced the hurdles that a new hero shooter is going to be facing. So I think they should lean into what they did last time, but do it better. Maybe simplify it, maybe sanitize it. I wouldn't say go hero shooter with the same fucking intent as Overwatch, but have your thing. Have your gear slots. I loved that shit. It was part of what my fun was. A lot of people like the gear. A lot of people had fun with it. The game came out at a shitty time, and I want to say that we will never bring this game up anymore on the fucking podcast.
It's going to come up, don't worry.
Probably this game and
Almost
Gigantic
guaranteed
should be blacklisted. Yep, you're banned.
A recurring
fuck that
segment
shit.
On this stream.
Close the fucking door. Forget about this game.
I would put money.
I will never
that
bring it up again.
Is going to be brought up again. Gigantic's going to be brought up.
The only time these games are going to get brought up is when we start playing them during the podcast, and we're going to have a screen under the table. Just showing
gonna have a meme
gaming.
where we just sit there and it just says Battleborn.
Yeah, and it just says Battleborn like right above me.
Week 3. Battleborn.
Week 3
Week
Battleborn
4,
discussion.
Battleborn. Week 5 Battleborn.
Yeah, fuck it. Do what you want with it. I've already accepted that it's dead. I just want it to come back in like the MOBA form. I don't want like an objective shooter like Rainbow Six Siege, like Overwatch, like Call of Duty. I don't want those games.
Well, you know what they say, Nix. If you really love something, let it go.
I do, and we're gonna let it go and never bring it up on foot. I'm just kidding.
And you know what? If it comes back, it's yours to keep.
True.
But you have to accept what it is when it comes back.
I want it to come back, and I want it to come back the way they decide to make it come back. I'll just be disappointed if it's Call of Duty /
You know
Overwatch
you'd play it. You know what?
I wouldn't. So you know what?
I know.
This is the funniest fucking thing.
Fact,
I will not
would
play it.
The shit out of that game. You
if
would
it
play
comes
the
back
shit out of it.
and it's Paladins, I won't play it.
You will.
I won't.
You're going to play it. You want to know why? Because I can just
Why?
see you now. Oh my god, we're going to go into the PvE. We're going to play the shit out of it. Then we're going to hit the PvP. We're going to just kill bitches. It's going to be so cool, guys. Come on. Stream at 5. Friends in chat. Hop in. We're going to do some PvP for the first 2 hours. After that, we're going on grind sessions. I want to get my gear. I need my legendaries. Still don't have my skin for my tank yet. I got to do this mission. I got to get the gold. I got to do it 5 more times. I get my gold. Shut up. I know you would play it. Because I
would.
know you. I know you. You
I
love this
totally
game
would.
so much. There's no way
But
that
like,
you would
come
allow yourself to
on.
sit there and see that
Stop.
there's a Battleborn 2 and it has all
No.
this new content, all these new characters.
No.
You'd be like, oh my god, honka honka.
I just fucking hope they don't go the fucking hero shooter objective first person game modes, because there's so many people that do it fucking perfect and super sanitized. You have all these games that are huge, set, good forever, you know. There's not a game
There's
that's
really
like MOBA.
only 2 games.
No,
that do
there's
that.
there's
Paladins
only 2 that
and
you know.
Overwatch.
No. Paladins, Overwatch, objective
Who else does
shooters
the
is
hero
what I said.
shooter
Maybe
like
hero shooter,
Overwatch?
not perfectly, but well, Valorant.
Valorant does not do hero shooter like Overwatch. That's Counter-Strike with abilities.
Well, Counter-Strike with abilities, objective shooter with abilities, objective
It's
shooters with classes.
when you're talking
It's
objective, we're talking about moving a payload.
Yeah.
We're talking about capturing a point.
I don't want those. Play fucking TF2. Like, I don't want.
Well, that's the thing, is that's what
That's what
the
people
market
want.
wants.
I understand, but like if they go
So
that
you
route,
need to,
I'm gonna
especially
have to
when we're
balance it.
talking Gearbox, if they're thinking money first,
I will play it.
that's got to be
reluctantly.
the route they got to
But
go.
like like the coolest thing about the game, okay, for me, was that it was a MOBA. It was a like set thing that is usually in top-down view, and I hated that. I didn't like it.
And Smite did that better.
Smite did that better.
Even though
with
it was
the
third person, it wasn't
Yeah.
first person. It was just like
Yes.
Smite was doing it, but also staying true to the core of what a MOBA is.
Cool. And
Right? That's why I was saying, like, Master of None.
I'm gaming right now. I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know. There's
we love
nothing.
you. We love that you love Battleborn.
Yeah,
Your
there's
passion
nothing,
is
literally
bleeding out
nothing
of
I can
you.
say. League of Legends exists. That means that Battleborn shouldn't exist. Fucking
It doesn't mean that.
Overwatch exists. That means that any game that
Doesn't
tries
mean
to do it better, it has
It
to
doesn't
fail.
mean that.
It ends up being that. So I will
It
say
doesn't.
that game. The cool thing about Battleborn was that it had all these things and they worked, and it was fun because they worked, and the characters were cute and lovable.
Passion is bleeding out of them.
Passion
It
is
like,
bleeding
I
through
need my
neck.
daddy. I need
Yes,
my mommy.
I
Please bring
need-
them back.
I need my game. It was so fun and it was so cool. I will play it every week.
And one of
it's
these
just-
days, we will look back on this together,
and we'll be
I
like,
will
"Oh my
laugh
god,
because
I'm so sad that I have wanted this game to come back."
I know I will laugh because you're just like me when I loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So passionate, so blinded by passion that you don't see that maybe the faults are
No,
like
I understand what the faults are, but if
Okay.
they don't want to bring back the actual game part of the game, then why the fuck bring it back at all? Just make a new one.
because the characters are attached to the IP.
Well, I don't know.
And why create an entirely new cast of characters when you've already got a great cast? We just need to rewrite them, give them modes that they can play and really stand out in.
I don't
Do the
know.
PvE.
All I want it to be is not dumbed down like the way the Counter-Strike and all the other shooters are right now. Having a game that's like this isn't sanitized is not the issue. The issue is it's just the same. Okay? I don't know. I'm just tired. I'm
I know
used
you're
to
tired.
I'm used to playing grind games. I'm used to playing games where you have to min-max. I'm used to playing games where you're like they have like a single player and then maybe the multiplayer. The idea is that you create your own like class, you upgrade it, you unlock new things for it, and when you versus someone you can't open the menu and be like, oh shit, he's got the Scar H with the glass ball attachment, and it has like the fucking piercing shots with the gamer vest. It's like none of those things existed back in the day. None of those things
Yeah.
needed to
You know
be
what?
shown.
You know what? You're such a boomer right now.
Oh yeah, I'm such a boomer. And it's like all those things just didn't need to be shown.
Times have changed, old man. It's time to catch up with the rest
Then
of the
rest in
world.
pepperoni. Then the rest of the world. Gamers
It's
are just
time to catch up to the rest of the world, and the way the world rolls is this is how it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to accept that the game is dead, but like,
The game isn't
you keep
dead.
telling me that that it died for like the things that I love the most about it. Is what's
Right,
end
and
up
Quake
happening.
died because of the strafe jumping, the item timing, and all this stuff. Things that I loved about Quake. I love timing items. I never did it, but it was fun to show up on a point and pop, my little item would show up, and I'd be like, yes, I timed it, but I didn't time it. Or I had a great angle and I strafe jumped over to the other side of the map. I did a sick jump. No one likes it. No one cares about it. So what? I did a sick jump. No one cares.
I don't think that's why Quake died.
Okay, we're not talking about that. We are not talking about why you think Quake died, man.
Yeah,
That is such a useless conversation.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
The way we're having fucking why did Battleborn die is a useless fucking conversation.
Because
There's like
Battleborn, from what you showed me, had things just like Quake that people didn't care about.
no,
People didn't care about the gear enough to say, I want to play this as my main game.
no.
People didn't care enough about the skill tree to say, I want to play this as my main game. People didn't care enough, perhaps, about the characters, the writing. I even say when I'm playing PvE, I hate Toby. Oh my fucking god, is he annoying.
Yeah, but
Same with Quake.
keep in mind, like there's things that could be messy with the mod pack. Maybe that's why he's talking nonstop and he's making like gibberish things that
The
are
excuses,
constant.
guys, the excuses keep
Sure.
coming. Just like when I would say with Quake. Maybe it's because there is no tutorial. Maybe it's because there's no jumping sequence where they need to learn how to strafe jump. Maybe there needs to be more videos.
Yeah.
It's the same difference, man.
I thought the strafe jumping was bunny hopping back in the day. But like it is
Yeah.
bunny hopping, but it's also you got to move your mouse apparently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
you
had to
gotta move your
learn that
mouse left
in
and
Midnight
right.
Guns.
You
Yeah.
also need to move on the WASD keys,
Yeah. Yeah.
left to right,
Yep.
where your mouse is
Yep.
facing.
So that I needed to learn from a game called Midnight Guns.
Yeah.
More so
Right.
than back in the day. Fucking what's
It doesn't change
CS
the fact of the matter
doing
that
it.
that's why these games fail. There's too much stuff going on. There's just too much to keep tabs on. There's too much to care about. I don't care. Just got home from a 9 to 5. I just want to hop on and shoot and play, and I shoot my abilities and casual, casual, casual. It's funny. It's the irony of Battleborn because you're always like, it's so casual, and it's like,
It is.
yeah, it is casual to you. Just like when I play Quake and I hop in and I'm just chilling, I'm shooting, I die, who cares?
Yeah, you're in your fucking element.
You're in your element. You're in your
Okay.
element with
Yeah.
Battleborn. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I
You know,
understand. I understand. I'm just saying that it would be cool if it was peer to peer, and it like
It will be.
existed.
It will be because the community is very passionate. It's funny, there's a lot of passionate communities out there right now that are just like the Quake community where they're just super passionate.
Yeah.
This is all they care about. They've been playing this when it came out, it's dead, they want to bring it back. The sad thing is that Quake wasn't born in an era where live servers and live service was a thing.
Yeah.
So the servers, when they did shut down, like officially, the complete game didn't just go away.
Disappear.
You see, and
yeah.
that is an issue with modern gaming, right? With live
Yeah.
service, that when they shut down the servers,
Game's
you
dead.
don't own a game anymore.
Yeah.
And I
There-
would say
there
I disagree
is-
with that wholeheartedly
Yeah.
because you should be able to play a game you paid for back in
Yeah.
2018.
I
You
should
should be.
Should be able
And
to
you
fucking
should be
play
able
it,
to
and it should be
constantly
able to
every day
co-op.
relive those memories as if they were yesterday.
Yeah.
You paid 40, $30 for a product that you don't have access to.
Yeah.
They took your money and ran.
Yep.
I disagree with that.
Yep.
Like we shouldn't even be having this discussion because
Yeah.
you should be able
because
to
the
play
game
Battleborn.
should be
And
fucking
I should
alive
be
right
able
now.
to play it to say, "Oh, you're right. This works." And I no, I could see why people didn't like it, but I can see why you like it, and it's very
Yeah.
fun. And it's like that whole problem with the gaming industry as a whole, I hope gets sorted out. The fact that they're taking people's licenses and they're removing games like The Crew, which just came out, I would say
Yeah.
maybe a couple months ago, like that should be illegal. That should be highway robbery.
Yeah. That shit should
Anyway,
be like not possible.
listen, bud, I love you. I love that you're passionate about this game. And I can't wait for the community to bring back the servers so we can finally
Listen,
play.
motherfuck, we can
Okay?
disagree. That doesn't mean we hate each other.
But it's like I want it to be known that fact, right?
Oh,
Like
I see.
our disagreements do not dictate whether or
Yeah,
not
true.
we're
Listen,
friends.
we can argue about what gaming is to each other, and we can have these deep philosophical fucking questions about the gaming community, you know, gamers, and we can do all of that, and like we don't give a fuck because at the end of the day, shit is what it is, you know.
Because listen, you did something in GTA. We're not friends anymore. Okay.
Oh fuck! How can you purposefully killed me in GTA? Okay, relationship over.
You know what's funny, Nix?
What?
We're so alike. It's just I'm a few years ahead of you. Like I am the sad, jaded person who loved this
I will
game
beat
for
you to
who loved this game for
bananas.
all their life and has
Not
only
true.
just recently coped with the reality
Not
that this
true.
game will never be popular ever
My
again.
game will be
The difference
popular. My
is
game will
my game
beat your
has
game
servers.
daily. Oh my god!
I can play it whenever I want, baby.
How the fuck dare
Oh
you?
shit. How did I
You
come
can't
back with like a
do
stab like
this.
that? I did not want to start off that way, but I just wanted to take it there because it was funny.
No, you
I can play Quake
can't.
anytime I want, baby. Servers? I could create one right now. Just play, jump around by
That's some fucking
myself.
bullshit. Well, that's the thing. You'll be by yourself. I won't be,
Yeah,
because the
but
second our servers come back online, literally everyone is gonna be like, "Oh shit, the
you know
game I
what's
paid
funny?
$40 for is back." Baby.
Yeah, the game I paid $40 for is back after like
It's back after
almost 10
7 years.
years. You know what's funny about, you brought up Midnight Guns. We'll probably have to wrap this up in a bit, but just really quick with Midnight Guns,
Go ahead.
they are already going to have a ranked tournament,
Oh shit.
which made me sick when I saw it. I was just like, oh god, here we go.
Oh
It's gonna be
no.
just downhill from here. Every match we're
No.
gonna play in that game,
It's
when
gonna be
we're just
someone
there,
training. It's gonna be someone
yeah,
training for
they're
that
training, they're
match.
being
Oh
salty.
my
Why are
god.
you using this weapon? You're not doing this. It's like, I am
Judge, you're
already turned
using the
off.
sniper. Please stop. Perish.
Just turned off already
Oh
when I
no.
see tournament, ranked, competitive, professional.
Yeah,
We haven't even released the game yet. Don't do this.
it's really hard. Listen, PvP games have to hit that balance where the game has the ability to be competitive in a way that it's consistent enough to be competitive, but it's not inherently competitive
Right,
because
that's
it
what was
turns
great about the
people
classic
off.
games, like you said.
Yes. So
They weren't balanced competitive,
yeah,
but
they weren't.
people made them competitive, so they had to balance them
Yeah.
eventually.
And then you have this fucking problem which evolved into just sanitizing games perfectly. So
Yeah.
that they don't have these fucking deaths that feel undeserved, that they don't have these fucking builds that feel super overpowered, that they don't have like
Yep.
cool mechanics that make you feel just a little bit stronger than the other person. It's just that I miss when gamers were like, "Oh fuck, they killed me. Ha 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 ha. Ha. Let's keep going. I'll get you, bitch." And then it's like fun. And nowadays it's like, "Fuck, you killed me. They need to patch this fucking game, you know? They
Right.
need to patch this bitch. Oh my god, they need to nerf this one. They need to buff my favorite hero, nerf that one." And it's like, oh my god, there is never gonna be a perfectly sanitized game, okay? Like,
Yeah.
it's just never gonna exist. The closest thing you got is Overwatch, and if you're looking for that, play that, and that's it.
Honestly, the closest thing you got is Quake, and if you want to play that, you
Closest
can
thing to
right
that
now.
is
Quake
Quake. You
Champions
can
is
play.
available. It's a hero shooter. It's
It's a
got
hero
AFP
shooter.
elements, and you can play it anytime you want, guys. Come on by,
Don't
check
play
it
as
out.
Nyx. Don't play as
Diabolical
Nyx.
exists.
Diabolical exists. Yeah. Don't play as Nyx in those games. because Nyx, they nerfed her invis, they nerfed her everything. Because
She's actually, dude. When you watch, I should show you videos of pros playing her. They slay.
I know, because they can shoot properly. I can't. Anyway, gaming.
Gaming. Well, I mean,
What a fun little
that should be
podcast.
about it. Yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up. It's like 3 hours. 3 hours is pretty fucking long for podcast
Really?
gamers. Yeah.
I thought it'd be about 4 hours.
Oh, 3 hours and 3 minutes, gamer. 3 hours.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
What, do we have like one more hour? Let's go.
I mean,
Quake. I'm kidding.
yeah, I mean,
No.
we could talk about Quake if you want. I got a couple days.
No.
Talk about Quake,
We ain't talking about Quake right now.
Or
Listen,
I could turn Quake into talking
let it
about
die. Let it
Diabolical
die.
and then
Let it
talking
die.
about
Let it die.
Midnight
Let it
Madness.
die. Let it die. Let it die. Let it die. It's like,
You know what's funny? Quake is one of those games where it's like everybody who plays it is like, I can see why this is dead, and yet somehow it's like a satanic baby because it just doesn't die.
it just doesn't
It-
perish. It's
It
there.
lives and survives off of the 300 to 500 people who play it.
Exactly.
It's insane. And then same with Diabolical. It's like breathing and surviving off of the 50 to 100 people who play it.
Like, I want that to be Battleborn right now. It'll be so
I know.
fucking fun. Because
You know
that
what's
game
funny?
is inherently casual. It's
Listen.
not inherently comp.
When I
even though
look
you're playing for
at
speed.
gigantic Steam charts, I see a game that is surviving off a couple thousand players, which is really good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like we're talking at the 24-hour peak, almost 4,000 people playing it.
Mhm.
Like people would look at that and say, "Oh, that's a dead game." It's like, no, that's
Mm.
actually a really healthy player base.
True.
And those people, if they can cater to them, are going to be passionately playing this game for years.
For a while. Yeah.
And I think Battleborn could have that. Even if they re-released Battleborn 1, I think they could have this.
Yeah.
Now, it may not be 2 to 4,000, but it could be maybe 500 to 1,000
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And
It
I
wouldn't
think
be
that's
fucking
still
huge, but
enough
it'll
to
still be enough.
survive.
Yeah.
The only thing about Quake that I will say is like different between Gigantic and Battleborn is the fact that they have basically the backing of Bethesda, who just shit money and don't
Yeah.
give a shit,
Yep.
right? Like they make Fallout games and
True.
they'll make they'll be like, oh, we lost a bunch of money on Quake and the fucking servers. We're a bunch of assholes. Let's go make Skyrim again. Let's go re-release
Let's
Skyrim
re-release
for the 1,000th time.
Skyrim and then make the mods not work for it. Because that's what happened with it, right? Like the newest version of Skyrim didn't have mod support or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
have
don't know
no
either.
idea.
I think that's why people are still playing the oldest one, because that one was modded to hell and back, and people could make it look better than the newest one. But I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure. I've never played Skyrim. Skyrim was never the game for me. I was more
Yeah.
of a Dragon Age kind of gamer.
Yeah, so my
Again,
point
first
really is
person.
just that Quake can survive off of nothing because it has a big brother who just pisses money all over them.
True. Also,
They
it can
can just-
survive from the small community because they're allowed to play the game without.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, if Gigantic went down to like 300 to 500, they might struggle financially to keep servers up. You
They
know,
would.
I mean, you never know. I mean, if people aren't, I don't know, they don't have any microtransactions. But it's like, if they
think
do
so.
try to introduce some kind of microtransaction to keep the servers running and keep the lights on, like
maybe
people
will
might not
support
be
'em.
buying them. But I do know that, like even Diabolical, man, like they literally, I would say sometimes at max only have about 25 to 50 people playing, maybe less than, maybe 15, based on
Yeah.
what I'll see on like the server side. There's only like 3 NA servers.
But that's
what?
Epic.
No. They host their own servers. They pay a company.
Oh.
Diabolical got Epic money to develop the game.
Ah, okay.
They're not
I see,
like
they're
Epic had
not-
nothing to
they're
do
not
with the
helped
game
by
outside of
Epic.
like giving them some money to finish it.
Uh-huh.
And then giving them a little bit extra to make like maybe 2 more games
Mm.
afterwards. It was like, remember Epic had the
Epic Mega Grant.
they had the incentive program,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they fell into.
Okay.
So that's what's crazy is like I don't know how they're surviving. And they released Diabolical in 2020. It's been 4 years. and they said they were going to announce or say something about one of the new games. I think it was either in 2022 or in 2023.
Hmm.
Like, we're all still waiting to see how the fuck is
That's
this
gonna work.
company going to make a living. And then they said they went and opened a studio. So it's like something shady's going on, man. There's got to be some money laundering or something going on,
Maybe.
and
I don't know.
there's some criminal activity with this company that we don't know about. Like, how are you guys
Maybe.
living? And yet Battleborn essentially had around 100 players concurrent on Steam, and yet had shut it down. So how does that make sense?
I
It doesn't. It fucking doesn't.
I wouldn't know. It's it's like fuck. Some games just need to not die. It's what I have a feeling. Or like if they died, they're like literally sabotaged. I feel Battleborn was sabotaged. The
Well, I
idea
think,
of it being
yeah,
always online for no fucking reason,
there you
that
go,
shit killed it.
right there.
Out of everything, the most that killed it.
Mhm.
Because not only did it feel bad for us to buy like a $70 game, no, well I bought a $70 because I pre-ordered it and with the golden
Right, you
edition
probably
or
got all
whatever
the
the
bells
fuck.
and whistles.
Yeah, I did, and then it was a present too. Um, it was
Can you imagine people who were like, I want this game for my birthday or for Christmas, and
I
then
don't need
like
to
literally
imagine.
months later it is
I
gone.
don't need to imagine. It's like I feel like why do you need to make it like a always online service game type bullshit like
Yeah, anything with PvE needs to have an offline mode.
yeah, anything with
Like,
PvP
because
needs to have a
you can
peer to
turn off the
peer.
servers for PvP all you want.
Yeah,
Let's just say they have to host the servers on their end.
yeah,
Fine. They shut off the servers, I don't have access to PvP.
but
But PvE needs to always have an offline
I
mode.
keep all of my shit. I keep all
Yeah,
of my stuff. Like
keep all your shit.
I have so much legendary shit on my PlayStation account. I am never going to see those items again, even though I
Yep.
farmed them like en masse.
Yeah.
It's like I had the perfect Randy like gear slots, but like at this point I've fucking accepted it. I just want the game to be back so I can play it more because
So you can grind
it was
again.
fun a game. It was a fun game. It was
You know
fun.
what's funny too about the offline thing is usually the like let's say the game is no longer supported. That's usually what
Yeah.
happens. Servers, they're like, we're gonna have to shut these down. At the end of the day, what usually happens when there's PvE and there's offline mode, the people behind the game, the community, will end up turning the servers back on themselves. They'll figure out how to do a P2P server hosting and private
Yeah.
servers, and we're hosting matches over
Let's
here
update
on
it
Sunday.
so we
Let's
can
play.
fix it. Yeah.
Well, I don't think legally they can necessarily update it, but they can turn the servers back on,
Yeah.
for themselves, and then they'll share how you can host your own server, with port forwarding or something.
They
But
should do
yeah,
that. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know why games nowadays lean so hard into the live service, other than that's just kind of what the market or the business norm is right now. Even
I
though
want that
I
business
think,
norm to die. Like,
and it's funny, I think more and more people are realizing that they actually don't like the live service model. And Helldivers 2 has come out and said you can do live service, but the live service makes sense. Like, it makes sense for Helldivers 2 to be live
yes,
service if the whole point is that
you
the
have a dungeon
servers.
master that fucking controls
Right,
everything, and
right.
everybody needs to be connected, and everything needs to be like,
It's all evolving in
yeah,
real time,
yeah,
live. So
live,
live
live
server makes
service.
sense.
Yes.
But when you're talking like Overwatch 2 live service, the whole business model is really just about battle passes and charging people
Yup.
money at every turn as much as possible. And so, I mean, hopefully the discussion for people when it comes to video games will turn into that and say, we need to redefine what a live service means
Yeah.
and redefine what we want as consumers from our video games, that
Yeah.
you know they can't just easily take it away. I paid $60. You've
Yeah.
stolen my money. You're not going to give me a refund, and you've turned off the servers and you've run away with the product. So,
Yep.
but the other problem is they're constantly writing in the terms of service for these games that anything can happen.
Yeah, we have the right to turn off your fucking.
Yeah, we have the
game.
right to rescind your license because
Yep.
you're not buying the game; you're buying a license.
You're
and we
buying a
have the right
license to
shut it
play the
down.
game while
Right.
it is active, and it's like, well, fuck you.
And it's possible that in the beginning, when they thought of this idea, the point was to punish players who were abusing, like, the communication system. That they could say, "We're allowed to ban these people permanently if they go too far," therefore removing and rescinding the
Yeah.
rights that they have to the license. But then they said, "Let's take it a step further with the license and say we could just completely, run away with the game if we wanted to, because it's not making money." So, yeah. Anyway, I feel like that's enough.
Yeah, we got the gist of it. We discussed the stuff. We got the goods.
Knocked our heads off a little bit there. So, episode 2.
Yeah, got a little stuff off our chest.
In the bottle.
In the bottle. In a dinny bottle. It's funny. It's like having these conversations kind of.
Are we still rolling?
Yeah, we're gaming.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like having these conversations kind of helps us kind of accept that some of the way that games are kind of gonna go soon, or like in the direction they're headed, and kind of helps us envision shit. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps with two things. It helps us to see where we're both coming from, and it helps us to see. Like you got to try to objectively look at things.
Yeah.
Because, I love your passion, but when you put passion
Behind
too close to the conversation,
yeah,
you lose the direction the conversation's trying to roll.
Yeah, I know. It's just that I don't know our examples.
You're learning.
The examples that we're giving are just things that not both of us have in our repertoire as examples, right? You're saying Smite does this and that and that, and I kind of have like the most basic understanding of what Smite does, or that's
it
for
just
me.
does what
and
Dota
on my
does. So if you've played Dota or
no,
League,
I haven't played Dota. I played League, but just like a couple of games, like nothing too serious, enough to understand Jinx. But with when I bring up Battleborn or like those games, the games that I bring up that you haven't played, there's just like a mismatch of information. So I need to start playing Smite more with you.
That's what I want. That's the only reason why I want you to play it, so you can understand when I talk that you're getting, okay, I see what you mean, all this stuff. That's why I want to play Battleborn, is so I can understand where you're coming from. And I think it's only fair and respectful to do that.
Yeah, but I fucking hate Smite, so no, I'm just kidding. We'll play it sometime. I don't know when, but we'll figure something out. Anyways, what the fuck are all of you still doing?
Yeah,
it's been 3 hours. It's been 3 hours, you gamers. We're gonna go and make
We're gonna wrap it up. I gotta take a shit.
True, I gotta take a pee. We're gonna be farming the fuck out of that Mercy skin, LOL. So
True. True. Adventure's out too. I wanna just install off.
Hell yes.
She's gonna be my new bae for the next week and a half.
They're gonna be a blast of destroy soon. Thank you very much for being here, and hopefully you enjoyed our little fucking discussion? Question mark. Many discussions and opinions.
Many discussions.
Many discussions, many opinions, many gaming.
Talk. We do the talk.
We do talk. We do gaming. This podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Boop.